Alright, buckle up, meet Sheena Wren, a fourth-year university student who lives by one savage rule: sleep is optional, but gaming is non-negotiable. And right now, this absolute unit is sitting on top of the world. He just crushed the latest fantasy RPG, and his victory scream could probably shatter glass. Our boy is buzzing out of his mind, convinced he might have just crushed a new world record speedrun. He ditched every real-world responsibility on purpose, vanished on everyone, locked himself in his room, and binge-played this game for days nonstop, and honestly, that's a legend move. This showdown is in the legend of the Seven Heroes Zoo ***, pure fantasy epic vibes, a school world, legendary hero descendants walking the halls, and one giant demon king standing in the way, daring you to take him down. You know the drill. It's a full-on worldwide obsession, the kind of game so popular that even your grandma would be playing it. But hold up, things get spicy fast, because the hero's best friend suddenly snaps and murders the saint. The game slams shut on a jaw-dropping cliffhanger, then the Emperor barks an order at the protagonist: hunt down his ex-best friend. That's the kind of setup that screams Part 3 is going to wreck you. Naturally, our hero heads straight to the forums to see what the internet sleuths are brewing. Then the verdict lands: the shady best friend is the mastermind, and he's also the final boss for the sequel. But right when he's soaking in that post-game high, a weird pop-up suddenly bursts onto the screen. He's totally thrown off, summoning a demon sword. That skill wasn't even in the game guides, but does he care? Nope, he slams that yes button without a single hesitation. Right then, his vision violently blurs to white. A sudden wave of dizziness slams into him, and his body goes limp like a soaked noodle. He's completely drained, can't summon an ounce of strength. He suddenly starts hearing whispers. Two women are trading rumors about a young master who's bursting with energy. His skin feels like it's being grabbed from every side. Water slams into him left and right. He's in full panic mode. One voice desperately prays that he'll grow up and turn out all right. Reality hits like a punch. Our unsuspecting hero is suddenly a literal baby, splashing in a wooden tub. He can barely move, his eyes are useless, and he's spiraling into a full-on existential breakdown, while someone casually scrubs his back like it's no big deal. This can't be a dream, this is real, and I can feel it. Out of nowhere, that creepy pop-up memory hits him. Special story, the demon's sword skill, and his stomach drops like, no, it can't be. He tries to talk himself into it, but this has to be one of those fantasy tropes, because what he's seeing is way too impossible. Then the soul-crushing truth hits him like a freight train. He's been transmigrated, and somehow he got ice-skied. Right on cue, his new mom and the maid start doting all over him, and they officially christen him Len Ashton. Len's name booms around inside his tiny baby head, like it's the only sound that matters. And that's when his whole world crumbles. Lin, yep, the traitor, is the best friend from the game, the one who backstabs the main lead, detonates all the chaos, and then he just keeps going. He didn't get reborn as the hero. He got thrown into the role of the story's future arch-villain, the prime suspect, with everyone pointing at him as the ultimate mastermind. His new life surges through his mind like a brutal highlight reel, him standing at the front, commanding armies of darkness and instead of getting a chill ice guy, our guy straight up got dumped into a nightmare version of the world. Like, he wasn't just chosen, he was handed the final boss seat for the apocalypse, so yeah, this is gonna hurt. Alright, let's jump into another day of brutal, sweat-soaked sword training that feels way too much like child labor. Our boy is swinging for the fences, but his dad, an absolute pro, just watches with that unimpressed, cutting stare as his wild flailing goes nowhere. He casually parries, then flicks our hero away like it's nothing, sending him flying through the air. Dad's like, don't just be jumping around, kid, you're leaving your whole guard down like a rookie. At last, the training's over, and our main guy is totally wiped out, face planted in the dirt. Meanwhile, his dad's practically beaming, praising his kid for pulling it off at 7 years old, and our hero, S, just stuck there thinking, I can't move my own body, yep, that tracks. 7 years have smashed by since this guy got yeeted into a new world, and now he's stuck in some backwater village inside the Magus Empire, so forgotten it can't even score a name on the map. We're shown his warm, cozy little home, nothing like the concrete jungle he used to live in. And let me tell you, everything flowed so smoothly it felt unreal, because at first, he was a baby in total denial. I mean, who would? But after 6 months of being a non-stop professional pooping and crying machine, you start to accept your new reality. Sure, because he's been keeping a tiny, dangerous secret from his new parents. Just like every top-tier Ice Guy hero, this absolute unit gets hit with a status screen. He just unlocked the insanely edgy skill, ***, demon sword summoning ***. But unlike the game he remembers, his own strength and magic are stuck on question marks, way more realistic, and honestly, far more terrifying. He's pretty sure he's never heard of this skill in the game, so yeah, that can only mean one thing. It's a truly one-of-a-kind skill. The rarest of the rare, something only HE can pull off, so he tests it out, and out pops the cutest, most harmless wooden sword you've ever laid eyes on. It's basically a fancy twig. He studies how it all works, and every time he fights with the sword, his skill spikes until it unlocks way cooler blades, like the demon sword of metal. The catch is brutal, summon it, and his skull starts to split from sheer magic drain, and if he pushes too far, he could straight up pass out. And just like that, the daily grind kicks into full gear. Suddenly, Dad storms in, and our hero panics. He has to instantly undo the little wooden secret before it gets exposed. That was way too close. Once he realizes this power plays like a video game, he realizes the whole world is hooked to it, and the brutal apocalypse he already saw might be about to strike for real right now. To shield himself and his new family, he has no choice. He has to get strong. Fast forward, our kid's 7 now, and when Dad storms back from the hunt, he slams the news. It's time for real sword practice. This dude is absolutely buzzing with pure, unstoppable excitement. Dad just smirks and dares him to bring the whole storm, everything he's got. "Oh, I will," he vows, then slips his wooden demon sword from the shadows, and there's a tiny sprout popping up on the blade like it's alive. He barrels ahead, roaring a battle cry like it's the last thing he'll ever say. Dad's eyes light up as he orders him to keep pounding, fight until his body finally taps out. But with a 7-year-old body, he's got the stamina of a wet noodle. 30 minutes in, and he faceplants. But Dad still leans in and tells him, "You crushed it for your first time." Once his old man finally walks out, he checks his stats, boom. His proficiency jumps by 2 points, and he's like, "All right, let's go." And just like that, his new life kicks off, studying in the morning, then getting absolutely wrecked by his dad come afternoon. And he realizes he can't cheat the system by stuffing demon stones from his dad's monster hunts into the game. And nah, this world won't cut him any slack. He's gotta earn every EXP point with his own damn hands. Another month streaks past in the blink of an eye. That continues. He clashes blades with his dad, and with every strike he speeds up and sharpens his skills. Dad nods at the progress, then instantly starts roasting him. "You lose your footing too easily," he snaps, then sweeps his leg out and sends our hopeless hero flipping through the air. Talk about tough love, straight up, no excuses. Even after chewing down dirt like it's nothing, this kid still refuses to stop. But Dad ends it right there, grabbing his shoulders and warning him, "Don't force it, or you'll end up hurting yourself." Exhaustion crushed him, but our boy still managed to thank him, eyes locked in, refusing to give up. And later, he double-checks his progress, 88 out of 100, and realizes he's only a few days from leveling up. Getting just 2 points a day was brutal grind, but from his gamer head, it made every reward hit way harder. That evening, his mom bandages his blistered hands like they're the most important thing in the world. She's panicking that he's grinding himself into the ground, and all while he's calling his dad a total sports maniac. She admits she respects the Ashton family's duty to protect the village. She doesn't hate swords, she trembles at them like they can bite back. She remembers her husband as a fearless warrior, true hero, who never backed down and saved people again and again. But her worst fear is this: one day, the exact same bravery that saves him will turn into a curse and leave him badly hurt. Just then, Dad swings the door open and strolls in with a gigantic boar he hauled home for dinner. He catches every word of their conversation, immediately sizing them up with a dangerous grin. "Don't worry, I'm strong." He swears he'll never screw up like he did back then. Because for him, his family's happiness isn't just important, it's everything. That night, our guy sprawls in bed, staring at the ceiling and getting obsessed with the family word. That snap of a moment yanks him straight into a flashback of his bleak city life. His parents split, and he got stuck living with a mom who barely ever showed up. And just like that, their conversations fizzled out into silence. Until one day, she simply vanished. She didn't come home anymore. He was trapped in a lonely, dead silent life with nothing to break the emptiness. He throws that brutal old past in your face and then flips the switch to his blazing present. That punishing training, the endless chores, reading side by side with his family, and sharing dinner together every single day hits harder than his whole old life ever did. On the training field again, he gets slammed to the ground once more. But the moment he rises, everything feels off, like the world just shifted under his feet. Dad grabs his attention and demands, "What's wrong?" And our hero's totally thrown off. "Maddie, it feels lighter, doesn't it?" No more talking, he rockets forward like lightning, and it's over in a flash. His dad's eyes snap wide with pure shock. He barely raises his sword in time, scraping out a block against an attack that's absurdly, instantly fast. One more time, Dad bellows, and our boy rockets forward again, power roaring through his veins. His speed and strength are absolutely unreal as he bursts forward and hammers out a relentless flurry of strikes. His dad has fully snapped. What the hell just happened? 1 second he was normal, and then he suddenly got insanely stronger. Our hero launches into the air, snaps into a funnel strike, and that crushing hit smashes his dad's wooden sword to splinters. The old man gets blasted through the air, his brain fried into oblivion, but instead of rage, pure joy explodes on his face. He snatches his son right out of midair. They hoisted him up like a trophy. Nice work, Len. I can't believe you're a skill bearer. But then his mom storms in, confused and asking what on earth all that yelling is about. Dad's cackling as he spins his kid around, grinning like, yeah, my training must have finally paid off. And yeah, he's right. A notification flashes for him. Demon Sword Summoning is now level 2, and boom, that passive kicks in physical ability up, small but real. The grind finally hit pay dirt, one lucky stat boost, and Dad's wheels started spinning fast, already talking about sending Len all the way to the capital to become a legendary knight. But our hero shuts it down on the spot. No way, he thinks, that even needs checking. His parents stare in shock, because seriously, who wouldn't be thrilled by a brand new skill? But this guy is playing 4D chess, knowing that if he lets Demon Sword Summoning out, he's setting off a whole storm of problems. He finally spills his real ambition. He just wants a quiet life in the village and to take over as his father's successor. They team up to hunt side by side, boost the village's survival, and keep it thriving, and most importantly, he'll be powerful enough to stand between his family and disaster if everything goes wrong. His mom's eyes are flooding with tears. Our main man can't stop thinking, 7 years in the past, and somehow they were the happiest of his whole life, all because of them. He's not the lonely kid from back then anymore. Len Ashton is who he is now. And all he wants is for the three of them to stick together and live a long life. No more losses, just years and years of shared tomorrows. His parents crush him into a giant hug, calling him a brat, while you can see their emotions spill over all at once. This is his second playthrough, and now he's dead set on one thing, protecting his family no matter what. Because he can see what's coming, he's pushing every move right now to stop the game's future of despair before it ever hits. A brutal future hangs over him, because fate says he'll cross paths with one girl, the same girl he's been born to kill. We catch a glimpse of this wild, chaotic destiny, one girl gripping a sword, a towering city looming over her, and a crowd going absolutely feral. But right now, our hero has no clue. He's just a kid, sitting at a picnic with the same family he's vowed to rescue. All right, strap in. Our story bursts open in a castle garden that looks peaceful, until you realize the young lady there is spiraling into a full-on existential meltdown. A hulking knight strides up and asks if she's all right. She only shrugs with a heavy sigh like, nah, training's over, and I'm honestly just bored now. Knight Vyas glances over his men sprawled out on the ground and growls, I see, my guys aren't qualified to be your sword practice partners anymore. Yeah, no kidding, my guy, this girl just wiped your whole squad on her own, and the only thing dragging her down is boredom. Meanwhile, she clocks that Vyas is fully geared for a serious mission. What a beast. He tells her he's been ordered to patrol the Northwest Territory, and she can't shake the feeling that this is way too suspicious for a guy of his caliber. Vyas just confirmed her nightmare. A seriously troublesome beast is loose, and he's been thrown straight onto monster-slaying duty. Cut to a totally new scene. Len's out here living his best life, farming in full peace. 3 whole years have slammed by since he last leveled up his ridiculously overpowered sound job. Demon Sword Summoning is calling his power back. Now his main skill hits level 2, and with it he can summon a demon sword made of wood. Cool, right? Not exactly broken yet. He double-checks his stats and body size, and it feels like his growth has hit a dead stop. Seriously, how could you blame him? He's been slammed with farm chores and gearing up for winter. Ain't exactly the moment to sit there grinding exp. And after a quick training grind, he only squeezes out a single, pitiful proficiency point. But our main man isn't even worried. He smiles at this sweet old lady and promises her he's got more than enough power to live peacefully right here. She just laughs and tells him, your dad was bragging about you becoming some great knight in the capital, and our poor, doomed hero is like, yeah, no, hard pass. But then, out of nowhere, an entire squad of knights bursts onto the horizon. The old lady's calm instantly shatters. She recognizes Lord Barnes' men on the spot, whips around to Len, and demands they get home, right now, like yesterday. And look who finally showed up, Vyaz, the head knight himself, the exact same guy from the garden. Roy Len's dad welcomes the knight with a warm grin and a friendly voice. Our boy slumps by the fence, staring hard like, whoa, these aren't just random guys, these are the big league legends. Turns out his dad is a knight too. He's been assigned to guard this exact village. Vyaz wastes no time. He hands Roy a report and dives straight into business. The news is brutal. Some kind of beast is wrecking nearby villages, and people have already been killed. The knights want Roy on the vigilance team because they're done letting that thing run wild, and they're hunting it down for good. Roy all business demanded the beast's rank. Vyaz lays out how the guild's ranking system really works. And then boom drops the bombshell. It's a daring beast, a monster that an average knight can't even survive against. Roy's soul almost rips right out of his body. Around here, the nastiest monsters are usually just F-rank wimps. To make it even worse, Vyaz drops the bomb. Because the ground they've got to cover is massive, no reinforcements will show up for another 20 days. The whole family is understandably panicking, but they swear to keep a constant watch on the forest. Len, determined to be a good host, offers him a place to rest, while secretly fishing for clues from his past life game knowledge to figure out what this unhinged creature really is. Vyaz snaps up the offer, then jabs a finger at our unsuspecting lead and asks, straight-faced, so that's Roy's son, right? Roy beams as he crowns Vyaz the captain of the Knights, the absolute top dog across the whole territory, and Len can't help but look properly impressed. The Knights slash out of battle for a quick breather, downing drinks with the villagers before charging back out. As they tear off into the night, one of the Knights' notes says Len is a skill bearer. Vyaz whips his gaze back with pure worry, praying that Kid stays out of trouble until this nightmare finally ends. Later, Roy's fired up and ready to hunt. Len leans in asking about the beast, but his dad just smirks and tells him not to worry. Turns out Roy once took down a D-rank beast solo. This dude is totally dumbfounded. His dad isn't just strong, he's stronger than 5 knights put together, which is why he could never, ever pull off a win in sparring. Roy's grand plan, starve the beast until it can't fight back, so he launches a massive hunting spree, dragging home piles and piles of boars. Len snaps everything into place. If they wipe out the beast's food, it'll lose its reason to crawl anywhere near their village. A simple plan that hits like brilliance in its purest form. Len clocks it right away. His dad's grinding himself to the bone, stalking and hunting from late afternoon straight through sunset every single day. While he's soaking in the bath, Len can't shake the worry that his dad is burning himself out with too much work. Right then, Pops shows up and dives in beside him, looking completely wiped out. Roy shoots Len a quick apology. He can't jump in with training today because he and Len's mom are buried under mountains of meat, processing it nonstop. Len craves this quiet family peace, and he'll fight tooth and nail to keep it safe. His dad is so wiped out he just drops off and falls asleep right there in the tub. Agonizing days drag on without mercy. One night, Len lies awake staring at the door. His dad still hasn't come back. His mom decides to hunt him down, but Len refuses to let her face that alone. She insists it's too dangerous, but he refuses to back down. He's going, and that's the end of it. Then his mother finally stares at him. Terror she's been holding in for years surges through her eyes. With just one torch in hand, they charge straight into the pitch-black night, refusing to back down. They slam into a bridge that marks the forest's doorstep, the official gateway to beast territory. Then they spot him across the bridge. Slumped against a tree is their father. He looks pale as a ghost, totally shattered, like everything finally crushed him. For a single heartbeat, relief hits hard. But his eyes snap wide with pure horror, because something is horribly, horribly wrong. His mother, eyes wide with terror, bolts across the bridge, screaming her husband's name. Right as she closes in, the horrifying truth smacks her in the face. His dad is drenched in blood. A brutal, massive wound mars his entire torso, and it's as gruesome as it gets. He's choking on breath, gasping like he's fighting to stay alive. And in that wave of pure terror, all he can do is let out a gut-wrenching scream. All right, buckle up, we dive straight into the chaos. A desperate family barrels through a nighttime forest, and someone's yelling at the top of their lungs for their dad. Our boy Len stares at his father crumpled on the ground, and the whole scene looks straight up grim. So why is everyone freaking out? Because this absolute unit of a demon, somehow it looks like the apocalypse got up wrong too. The beast rockets forward, and our main man barely yanks his sword up in time to slam the block. But this isn't some ordinary woodland creature. It bites down on that steel like it's a chew toy, and Len freezes dead in his tracks. That sheer force is straight up ridiculous. The boar crushes through his defense, slams our hero into the dirt, and pins him down hard, but even with pork all over his angry face, this guy still finds the nerve to yell at his mom to run for her life. Just when you swear it can't get any worse, boom, wrong. Two more boars charge out of the bushes, itching to start round two. The family gets officially boxed in on all sides, and they're totally doomed. But hold up, right when he's about to lose hope, a notification slams into his mind, and he suddenly remembers his passive skill, physical ability up, just a little, and in that moment he realizes he might actually have enough power to shove this off. Without even thinking twice, he clenches his muscles and hurls the demon pig into the sky like it weighs nothing. The boar rockets forward, and his mom's jaw drops so hard it might as well hit the floor. Right as he's about to celebrate, another one crashes in from the side like a wrecking ball. Our unsuspecting hero goes into full attack mode, swinging that axe with everything he has. And bam, one clean hit, boom. The boar gets launched into the air, tumbling out of the fight, completely taken out. The swing went totally off the rails, so hard it blasted the monster airborne and snapped his axe head clean right off. And there he is, just staring, utterly stunned that he is even capable of a power this ridiculous. Watching one of their own get totally wiped out leaves the other two boars ready to go berserk. They clock this guy for half a second, realize OT pay isn't worth it, and right then it hits Len. After all that training, all those hard-earned skills, he's finally strong and he can fight. Next day, cut to the timeline, jumping forward. Back at the house, a sweet old woman frantically bandaged his father's wounds. Granny Rig tells them the danger's past, his dad's condition is stable now. You can almost hear the wave of relief washing over his mother. But our main guy is already snapping the puzzle into place. He knows those little boars never could have taken out his dad. No way his father must have stumbled into some monster out there, a way bigger, way nastier nightmare hiding in the very same forest. With backup still 10 days away, if that monster strays into the village, it's game over for everyone. Realizing he can't just sit there and wait, this guy decides he's got no choice. He has to act right now. He storms back into the forest and spots the boar corpses left from last night. But the closer he gets, a strange wisp of energy starts curling out of their bodies. Then the punch lands and the guy gets blasted straight in his face. It snaps straight into the mysterious bracelet strapped to his wrist. A status screen suddenly flashes up, proving his gamer instincts were right. Demon Sword's summoning technique just leveled up to level 2. He swallowed the monster's demon stone magic straight into his bones, and boom, his skills shot up like crazy. That one choice flips everything. Then that night, he hauls the monster corpses back home and finally bears it all to his mom. He tells her right to her face, starting tomorrow, I'm taking over my father's duty. She's shaking with fear, but he lays the whole truth on the table anyway. When his dad is down and hurt, he's the only fighter left standing in the whole village. He's practically on his knees, begging her to let him shield everyone until help finally shows up. Next morning, his mom finally caves. She'll let him go, but only one rule, be back before dusk. With her blessing ringing in his ears, our hopeless hero barrels into the forest for his very first official day as the village protector. She grabs him by the moment and spits out one last warning. Use the giant Sarogi rock as your marker, then don't you dare go too deep. It snaps him back to reality. He still hasn't even tested the natural magic that's supposed to awaken in his demon sword made of wood. He remembers this one boss from the game, same crazy powers, just like that. Right then, some annoying little know-it-all pops up out of nowhere, because of course this is the exact moment for a test run. He jabs his sword forward and shouts, Chris, Sprout, come on Ivy. Instantly, vines burst out of the ground like they've been waiting for the signal. And he wrapped the boar in a frenzy of leaves, snapping it inside a wild, chaotic cage. Our boy's reaction is pure gold. He's totally blown away, staring like, no way, that's insanely awesome. The boar's locked down tight, completely immobilized, but absolutely unharmed. He snaps to the truth. This magic is made for crowd control, so he can scoop up the monsters without a single messy brawl. And just like that, the grind kicks off. He starts drilling himself on every single boar he stumbles across. The local villagers stand there, jaw dropped, staring in pure awe. On his first day, this absolute unit hauls back a giant, vine-choked ball of 12 boars. On day 2, he pulls the same move again. No hesitation, no mercy. By day 3, our main guy is already stacking victories, turning into a full-on legendary monster hunting machine. Moonlight blasts through a dark forest, and something legendary is about to show up, Chief Wolven, a D-rank monster that's basically a furry nightmare charging in on 4 terrifying legs. Meanwhile, our boy is sprinting through the woods, gasping like he just ran a marathon he never agreed to. Out of nowhere, a ridiculous presence crawls up behind him, and he screeches to a stop. His danger senses are screaming at full volume. And for good reason. Before he even has time to process what's happening, a bus-sized wolf smashes into him from the side and launches him flying like a ragdoll. Our main man slams into the ground, realizing this is insanely fast. His brain can only spit out one perfect thought: shit. This absolute unit is circling him, and it's obvious this isn't some run-of-the-mill forest beast. There's a gimmick going on, and it's not subtle. His eyes lock onto the abyss, and his soul nearly rips out of his own body. The Wolven unleashes a freaking tornado of razor-sharp leaves, slamming our hero into a full-on defensive scramble. He gets blasted back again, face first into the dirt, second time in under a minute. And get this, the Wolven's special power lets it whip up wind-made invisible hands to snatch whatever it wants, and for a giant wolf, that's some truly shady, unhinged stuff. Our unsuspecting hero instantly realizes he's totally and completely doomed, because this isn't a battle he was ever meant to step into. He's scrambling to craft a winning strategy, but that wolf won't let him breathe, no time to sit back and think. He knows his nature magic is barely a spark, but that's all he's got, so he goes all in with a reckless rush, getting right in close and aiming straight for the stomach. Right when he's about to brace himself, his eyes suddenly snap to something he didn't see coming. The wolf freezes in place, like it somehow senses he just uncovered its secret. There it is, a nasty wound ripped into its leg, and in the blink of an eye, his mind starts grinding into action. Did it happen because of his father? He can't stop himself. He's piecing it all together, linking this to that earlier fight. His eyes snap wide as a terrifying realization hits him like a punch. That wound is the one thing that snapped this beast into a berserk rage and drove it straight into the village, and it's the only reason his dad barely made it out alive. A brand new blaze of determination sparks in our hero's eyes. Rage swells in his thoughts of his father, the knight who kept his duty even with injuries tearing him up. And just like that, this dude's got the fire he needed. Now he's not backing down, not for a second. The Wolven just growls, totally unmoved by that sudden hit of shounen protagonist energy. The beast powers up yet another wild wind blast, and it won't let him breathe for even a second. With lightning-fast focus, our boy taps into his own power and calls up nature magic. Then thorny vines explode out of the ground like a living trap. Plants burst out of the ground in a wild explosion, a chaotic storm of green. The Wolven unleashes a furious roar as the vines start curling up around it. For a single heartbeat, the beast gets slammed still, caught and choking in a thorny snare. This is it, his moment to shine. He bursts through the opening and springs onto the monster's back, hunting a devastating critical strike. The high ground, where one wrong move could turn victory into a nightmare. He hoists his wooden sword high, ready to swing it for the final, game-changing blow. Caught the perfect weak spot. And the sword just snaps clean in two. Wow, talk about embarrassing. His magic bracelet suddenly flares to life, because the second his plan starts crumbling, everything spirals. He's totally stunned. His one-of-a-kind wooden magic sword is nothing but a cracked, splintered stick now. Panic hits as he senses the counterattack coming, and he scrambles to resummon his weapon before it's too late. But it's useless. His broken sword snaps in his grip, shattering into pieces. Trying to summon a broken item is a horrible mistake. His mana starts getting drained at a terrifying pace, and the backlash hits him like pure, unbearable agony. He's barely holding on, pain is crushing him, and his vision keeps smearing into darkness. The Wolven starts to thresh harder and harder, crushing the weakening vines with effortless force. Our main guy is about to get tossed off this ferocious death machine, like a wild bucking bull. And just like that, the wolf lunges in, chomping him right into a nearby tree with a savage, earth-shaking roar. Then he slams into the ground and coughs up a storm. And just when it couldn't get worse, he's caught in his own vines, totally defenseless as the Wolven close in. But instead of hunting for the kill, the beast does something totally unhinged. It starts gnawing at the tree's roots. Straight up, he's gnawing on wood like it's a snack. Our hero's consciousness starts slipping away, and he knows the healing herb could yank him back, until memory hits and he recalls it. His father was back home, sprawled and badly injured, bleeding out from the damage. He hesitates, gripping the precious herb like it's his last lifeline. No, he decides screw it. There might not be enough for his father, but he's clenching his teeth and pushing through anyway. Absolute unit. With his choices shrinking fast, he panics and hunts for another plan, while the wolf savors its appetizer like it owns the moment. His eyes drop to the bracelet, and a wild new idea ignites. The Wolven devours the last bite, then snaps its gaze back to him with a nasty, warning growl. It unleashes another brutal wave of wind, blasting debris flying in every direction. Our boy gets hurled again, and his entire body howls in pain. He scrambles upright, crushes through the pain, and sprints like his life depends on it toward something waiting in the distance. Hold up, stay right where you are, he yells, like the monster might actually stop and listen. With his last scraps of strength, he forces out one final burst of vines to trap and slow it down. His mana is bone dry, yet he sprints on, straight for the corpses of the boars he already crushed. He has to gulp down their magic stones to level up his skill. His progress bar slams into 97 out of 100. He's right on the edge of unlocking the magic sword of metal by. Behind him, the Wolven roars tear loose again. This is it. He's going all in on one final minute power-up. Vines lash out and snap like brittle twigs. The beast is finally unleashed, and it's absolutely furious. It rips through the last of its restraints with pure, unstoppable rage. With his family's memories blazing inside him, he slams his hand onto a dead boar corpse and drinks in its energy. On his arm, the bracelet suddenly erupts in a blinding burst of light. There's no way I'm losing this, he bellows, and his spirit snaps back to life. The system blares a command, Demon Sword of Middle, unlocked. Right as the Wolven lunges with its jaws gaping wide, he snaps into action and unleashes his brand new weapon. This is the last all-or-nothing showdown. The wolf lunges with everything it's got, locking in for the bite like it's about to finish it for good. Our hero drops to his knees and pours every last ounce of power into this one, single, devastating attack. We slam into a terrifying POV shot, right from inside the monster's mouth. Without a flicker of fear, he drove the brand new sword of metal straight down his throat. The blade's power ignites, and a blazing slash rips through the beast, tearing it open from the inside. With one half-heartedly epic final assault, the Chief Wolven gets absolutely crushed. Alright, we're diving back into the chaos. Last time we saw him, it was do or die, and somehow he clawed his way through. Now a huge pillar of light blasts into the sky, screaming that the battle is over. And the Chief Wolven gets absolutely skewered, a magic sword pinning its giant carcass to the forest floor. Gigi no. Len's main character energy is gone. He's cooked to the bone, panting like his life depends on every breath. He glares at his blade and realizes it isn't just any sword. It's the magic sword of metal, and it's gulping the magic stone from the defeated beast like a demonic smoothie. But the victory high fades in a blink. This absolute unit is fully drained, his body's clocked out for good, and he won't move a single inch. With his final shred of strength, all he can cling to are thoughts of his parents. Suddenly, thunderous hoofbeats rip through the trees like a war drum. A squad of knights, lured by that unholy racket, stumbles on the carnage's aftermath. Then their captain jabs a finger and barks, "Over there." They stumble in and spot a kid crumpled beside a monster that was supposed to splatter him into red paste, and the whole rescue crew just stands there completely stunned. Without a heartbeat to lose, the knights burst back toward the village. They smash into Len's house like it's a raid, guns blazing, shouting, "Annie, are you in here?" Len's mom goes pale with shock, but the knight barrels straight in, no small talk, no delays. "We're knights from Colossal. Take this kid to his room." Len's dad storms out, spots his battered, unconscious son cradled by the knight, and his heart drops straight through the floor. Even knocked out cold, the knight catches it. Our hopeless hero is still clinging to his satchel with desperate, trembling hands. Curious, he watches his mom swing the door open, and there it is, rondo grass, the exact herb she's been praying for. The truth slams into her like a wrecking ball. This guy risked everything for her. She collapses in tears, hugging her son close. He just took down a daring monster all by himself to steal medicine for her. What an absolute beast of a legend. News of this outrageous stunt spreads like wildfire. A messenger drops to his knees before the lord of the territory and blurts out the impossible. Len Eshton, the boy, beat the Chief Wolven all by himself. The old man hears it and just can't believe a word. But right there nearby, a noble girl's curiosity finally snaps to attention, especially when a boy who can take down a D-rank beast in her own territory all by himself comes into view. 2 months they vanished in the blink of an eye. Our boy S been grinding like crazy. His magic sword summons stronger now, and he's even unlocked a savage new power. When he attacks, he can steal items right out of whatever he hits. This fresh power didn't just give him strength, it summoned the slick new magic sword of Bandit, a blade that's way less sword and way more out-of-control finger claw, basically built for quick, sneaky adventuring. And even with all that fame blazing behind him, he's still out here scrambling up cliffs to snatch herbs like the world didn't change at all. Local guards clock him instantly and lose their minds. Lord Len, Didn't we tell you to call us every time you step into the forest? Our main man just drops an apology and the guards stare like, whoa, because his physical skills are seriously insane. Surviving that fight didn't just save him, it basically leveled him up. Len bears his master plan. He's going to sell the rare materials he got from the chief Wolven and use the money to help the village pay its taxes. The guard smirks way ahead of you. Turns out the lord's paying top coin for all the loot, and this year's prize is a full-blown tax exemption. Our hero is bouncing with pure joy, because this one wild act of bravery is about to keep the village thriving for decades. Back home, his dad's grinning like he just won the whole world. I heard what you've done, Len, and wow, I'm proud of you. But our brave hero won't pretend. He gives full credit to his father, saying he never could have pulled it off without his help. When they ask Len what he wants as a reward, he jabs a finger at a stunning glowing orb and demands, hand me that salacious pearl, this beautiful stone. And while he's at it, he grabs that shady bracelet too, since now he's got the green light to wear it out in the open. His dad flashes a loving head pat, the kind that screams, "You made me worry, you reckless idiot." But your pride can't be denied, risking your life to protect everyone. You did more than well, Len, you're awesome. And just like that, a heavy hush of peace blankets the nameless village for what feels like an eternity. Life suddenly turns picture perfect. Len pitches in on the farm, folks spin through laundry day, and the whole place settles into peaceful, breath-easy calm. But let's be real, peace is just the loading screen before the next disaster kicks off. And right then, our boy minding his own business spots a girl perched on a stone wall, like she fell out of the wrong story. He's completely thrown off. Who is she? She's not from this village. She snaps around, eyes blazing as they lock onto him. Then she fires off one simple question that's about to blow everything up. Are you Len Ashton? Then she flashes him a soft, knowing smile that says she already gets everything. Our unsuspecting hero freezes in shock, like he's seen her somewhere before, but the memory just won't click. That's right, she grins wider and wider, and you can feel it. This is the fateful encounter. And with that one single moment, everything changes. A brand new story slams into overdrive, and it's only getting wilder from here. The gears of fate have started to grind, and you can practically feel chaos gearing up to break loose. All right, picture this. Our boy's just minding his business when this mysterious girl drops out of nowhere like she stepped straight from a fantasy novel, and she calls him by name. He's totally thrown off, but he confirms, yeah, I'm Len, and before he can finish the sentence, she just lights up with a smile. With a breath that feels like it could lift the whole world, she finally exhales, I've wanted to meet you for so long. All right, this is weird, but she's got to be a fan, right? Before our main guy even has time to register it, she flicks out not one, not two. She slashes into the scene with TOYO swords like it's nothing. She questions him about his injuries, and he's totally thrown off, because they've already healed, so how on earth would she even know who he is? She dodges the question like it's a punch, flashes a shady grin, and goes, all right then, let's start. Bijan, what? No warning at all. This girl rockets at him like a human missile. Steel screams through the air as our unsuspecting hero barely throws up a guard in time to stop that insanely fast attack. This is a full-blown, unhinged massacre. Two other guys get forced to fight for their lives just to stay alive and not become collateral damage. And the best part, she's living it up, cackling like crazy, while you keep your grip steady on that sword, even after getting left behind. And our hero is just trying to stay alive, thinking, wow, she's seriously skilled, so why is this happening to me? Right then it hits him, her blade's gone dull. She isn't hunting him down at all, she's just messing with him using a practice sword. And the second he realizes her whole chaos is just a game to her, he snaps, like, no more, because deep down he knows this is getting messy, and it's time to shut it down. With a slick little move, he sets his foot, then she faceplants into a straight-up trip. He snatches the sword right out of her grip and launches it flying, and in the blink of an eye, he slams her to the ground and presses his blade to her throat. I win. Pure, absolute savage. Then everything collapses. He makes one fatal mistake and realizes their faces are only inches apart. Our hero's brain fully short-circuits. He recoils like he just grabbed a hot stove, scrambling back, and blurts, sorry, Eurito, close. This absolute unit doesn't even flinch. She just springs up, points a finger, and demands again, ready your sword. Our boy's soul just straight up got kicked out of the chat. Like, he's completely lost and has no idea what's happening anymore. Right then over the hill comes a cavalry of knights, thunder in their boots, yelling, Princess, it's Eno. A grim, grizzled old knight trudges into view, battle-scarred and worn out, looking like he's survived every nightmare, and is fed up with all the chaos. The princess just brushes the dirt off like it's no big deal, dust flying, zero hesitation. Then she whips out a formal letter sealed with shiny wax and tells them her dad sent her a. Turns out her dad, the big boss himself, was absolutely blown away by the Ashton family's latest win. She steps up and declares, loud and clear, I'm Lysia Colossal. The one and only Saintess of White, there's nobody else like him. In that single heartbeat, everything our main guy knows shatters. One brutal memory, or maybe a vision, slams into his head, him in a dark uniform, cradling a lifeless Lysia in his arms. The old knight is still laying into her, warning her she can't storm off alone without a single guard. But our hopeless hero is spiraling into a full-on existential breakdown. Then it hits him, pure horror in his guts. It's the same girl he's supposed to kill in the story. So tell me, why is his number one assassination target standing right in front of him, daring him to a friendly duel? Next thing you know, they're all slumped into a seat for an unbearably awkward tea time. Our boy is trying to reboot his brain and finally figure out how to live quiet, low-key, and boom, life gets smashed by a plot-driven freight train. His thoughts explode into overdrive. Lysia Colossal, the Saintess of White from the game, the legend of the 7 heroes. She's a fan favorite locked inside a powerhouse, and there's a whole running joke that she's the one NPC nobody ever gets a romance scene with. Lysia takes a slow sip of tea and says, I came all this way just to see what the guy who beat the Chief Wolven can really do. The moment you grabbed your sword without a second thought, I knew you were made of real courage. This guy is losing it on the inside. He picked this backwater village, a brutal 10-day trek from anywhere big, just to dodge the main storyline. He never imagined he'd have to cross paths with the feudal lord's daughter, and still she hauled herself all the way here alone, just to throw down a spar with him. He tries to play it down like it's no big deal. Don't hype me up, he says, but the truth is, my dad's help was the difference maker. And honestly, I don't think I've got that kind of courage in me, the kind you're talking about. But Lysia doesn't buy his humble routine for 1 second. She snaps, you're nothing like the other nobles, the ones who just run their mouths. Then she slips in a request that makes ice run down his spine. Come with me to Closel, so we can spar anytime we want. He's convinced she's nothing but a battle-obsessed workaholic, chasing fights like they're her next paycheck. He needs to kill this right now, and I'm sorry to ruin the vibe, but I'm not leaving this village. Lysia's smile crumples into a sharp stare, like she's calling you out. So you've been trying to keep your distance this whole time, huh? Do you actually like me? He scrambles for a reason. No, that's not it. And honestly, I'm into this whole village life. He slaps down the ultimate noble card. My father is the only one who can defend this village. Another demon attack, it'll be wiped out, but Lysia just stares into her teacup, eyes blazing with pure determination. I get it. I won't quit, just you wait. All right, ready to dive back into the chaos after that surprisingly peaceful family dinner. Our unsuspecting hero just can't resist stepping outside for some fresh air. But instead of a quiet night, he steps into the stable and gets ambushed. He's just trying to finally kick back and enjoy a calm post-meal moment. Suddenly, a wild challenger storms in. This girl never learned to knock because she's barging in with her sword out and a ridiculously smug grin plastered across her face. She proudly declares she got his parents' permission to drag him out here for a duel, and our boy just shrieks, "You've got to be kidding me," because he straight up refuses to even lift his sword. But this girl plays dirty. She slams him with the ultimate threat. If you don't fight me, I'm staying here indefinitely. When he realizes he's trapped, this absolute unit erupts into a cackle, snatches the sword, and acts like he totally planned to, like this was just his workout all along. A master of saving face, he swears he'll hold his dignity. Then she slams down the stakes. If she wins, he'll have to spill every last secret and get hauled back to her fancy city, Closel. But our guy won't let that slide. He fires right back. So what happens if I win? She flashes a devilish grin without missing a beat and tells him she'll be back tomorrow to challenge him again. Pure lose-lose, and she knows it. What a total troll. She rips into the fight with a battle cry, charging straight at them. The duel's underway, steel rings out as their swords crash, and she charges at him full speed, going all in with every ounce of power. She snaps into action right away, unleashing a wild whipsword barrage to totally catch him off guard. But our boy parries it like a total pro, and she's left staring in pure confusion. He's like, seriously, why are you so desperate to beat me? Her answer hits like a punch, short, blunt, and deadly honest. I hate losing. Apparently, it turns out she's the Saintess of White. It means she's got a reputation to protect, and she'll be damned if some random village guy her age tries to outshine her. Our hero's stuck trying to wrap her head around what that title even has to do with any of this. When she says her Saintess is basically a built-in cheat code, boosting her sword skill and physical stats like crazy. And on top of all that, she can wield sacred magic, so if she loses, she says it's downright horrifying. Frustrating as hell, she shrieks and throws herself at him again, unleashing one more rage-fueled attack. She slams the brakes on fun and declares, "Playtime S over," because she's about to go full serious mode. And yeah, she's got the truth, and she ain't lying. Our guy instantly feels the pressure spike, and she suddenly goes turbo fast, turbo strong, like her sacred magic just kicked into full power. For anyone who hasn't seen it, sacred magic is an overpowered mashup of healing and holy power-ups that just wrecks everything. He's shoved onto the defensive, bracing and blocking blow after blow from a relentless assault. She yanks off a ludicrous mid-air spin slasher, basically showing off the divine buffs like, "Yeah, I'm built different." Even he has to admit it, when she's fully powered up, she's insanely strong. He yells, "You couldn't have used that earlier." She shoots back that her guardian Weiss will tear her a new one for going all out without permission, and when he realizes the gloves are finally off, our boy decides it's his turn to stop playing around and go full serious. The fight instantly kicks off at a straight-up, ridiculous speed. Sparks burst as steel crashes into steel, and blades whip through chaos like a deadly dance. He dodges, weaves, and snaps off razor-sharp parries, watching her every move like he couldn't look away. Then it hits him, his opening. He's finally cracked her pattern. In a blink, he rockets forward and jams his sword's tip against her throat. Checkmate. She's stuck on ice in pure shock, and this absolute unit thinks to himself, "Yeah, she's strong, but she's no Chief Wolven." He keeps her trapped, confidence cracks, and everything in her smug smile shatters. She can't believe what she's seeing. He shoves her back hard, and she trips, barely catching her balance. He caps it off with a perfectly timed leg sweep that drops his opponent in an instant. She slams into the ground, completely crushed and utterly defeated. He towers over her, victory in his grasp. "Yeah, that's my win," he snaps, voice colder than steel. Her mind is completely blown, like the whole world just shattered. But right when you think it's finally over, she digs in, refusing to call it quits. With pure desperation, she hurls her sword at him, no way back, no second chances. He lazily flicks it away like it's nothing. But she's already on her feet, screaming, and no, I haven't lost yet. But this girl's tenacity, it's on a whole different planet. Suddenly, a slow clap rolls across the yard, and her guardian, Weiss, steps out of the shadows, his expression blazing with pure impressed energy. He's basically losing his mind over our hero's insane skill, and yeah, turns out it's not surprising he crushed that chief all on his own. He spins to his lady and practically shouts, "See that? Now tell me you get it. This guy is insanely strong." He's betting this dose of reality will light a fire under her. She drops her gaze, completely crushed by humility. She apologizes for the total chaos of her entrance, then admits it was still an unforgettable experience. That awkward kid turned winner. He doesn't even argue. He just gives in with a shaky, half-hearted nod. Weiss drops to her knees and apologizes for her, straight from the heart. But our main man brushes it off like it's nothing. Weiss won't let it slide. He locks eyes, snaps, "Yeah, you did," and makes it clear this old man knows every second of what he just saw. Weiss tells her that she's gotten too comfortable because she thinks no one her age could ever challenge her, then drops a brutal beatdown that snaps her out of it. He's begging for one more round of sparring, but duty yanks them away, and they've got to be gone by morning. Turns out she isn't some spoiled noble at all. She's on her father's orders, racing to calm the unrest ripping through the region. She's the top of the class, a total prodigy who absolutely crushes it in academics and combat. Our boy clocks that she's overbearing. She doesn't beat around the bush at all. And then it hits. We finally learn the real reason he's been pushing her away, a brutal vision of the future where he's left holding her lifeless body. He never saw her coming this soon, and the moment she showed up, his entire plan crumbled into chaos. The next morning crashes in like a drum roll, and everything's about to change. The Saintess tossed and turned all night, still rattled to her core by that crushing defeat. Locked in, she drops into her seat and starts hammering out a letter. Wise snaps into action, catching her mid-fall, and immediately asks if it's for our boy. She nods, clinging to one idea. A proper written invitation might finally beat her usual tactics. But the second Weiss starts reading, horror grips his face and twists it out of control. This feels like a love letter written by someone way too young, and it's got you grinning without even trying. He reads it out loud, and the passion in his words hits harder than anything I felt before we ever met. Then she freaks out, swearing it's all true. Weiss calmly admits that her choice of words doesn't come off as a challenge at all. It sounds like a shaky, desperate confession of love. He keeps devouring every tale of her valor and gallantry, and she's right on the edge of dying from pure embarrassment. He totally trolls her, saying she sounds like some country girl who just got handed her knight in shining armor for the first time. After losing for the second time in just 12 hours, she finally swallows her pride and admits he's right. That letter is a complete disaster. Burn it and wipe it out before it causes even more trouble. Then they blast off down the road, waving like they'll see each other again in a flash. After their loud, flashy first encounter, the Saintess slips away from the village, quiet as a whisper. But right as she's about to fling that humiliating letter, a sudden gust rockets it straight out of her bag. Fate, it looks like, loves to mess with people, while she cruises on, totally unaware. Meanwhile, our hero can't resist. He swings his new demon sword of banditry and dares fate, because it might snatch an item clean out of thin air. He spots a bird and goes for it. The moment it clicks, the skill bursts to life. And just like that, poof, a single feather materializes in his hand. And yeah, it's working. Then a second bird swoops by and drops something straight into his hands. It's the letter. He swings it open, eyes snapping wide with pure confusion. What the heck is this, a love letter? The universe just dumped the most brutal cringe right on his doorstep, chef's kiss. You already know we love to see it. All right, buckle up, we're jumping straight back into the chaos. Our boy is out in the woods, minding his own business, clutching a letter that looks way too suspicious. He squints at that top-notch parchment, and his mind instantly snaps to one thought: who's trying to invite him to Colossal. Then his hopeless romantic streak kicks in, and he can't help but wonder whether that fancy note is from that silver-haired Saintess. But just as his mind starts drifting, thunderous hoofbeats slam him back into reality. Big trouble is on the way, and it's sprinting straight toward you. Suddenly, a squad of heavily armored knights crashes through the trees, like they're claiming the whole forest as their turf. Our main man spots the crest on their banner the second it hits his eyes. Yeah, that's the local clan's sigil right there. Don't miss it, these guys are outsiders. Without even blinking, the knights slam forward into the fray. And suddenly, those riders closed in on the unsuspecting Lade, hooves pounding the ground, flinging dirt and leaves into the air. They screech to a stop right in front of him, just a brutal wall of steel and pure intimidation. It's a total power flex, and they haven't even spoken a single word yet. Captain Helmet still on no games. Tell me straight, are you a subject of the Ashton family? Our boy confirms it, and boom, the knight drops the bomb, their messengers sent straight by Viscount Givens. The name slams into Len like a wrecking ball, and his eyes snap wide with pure shock. Listen, this Viscount is way higher than a baron, and the domain of Givens sits right next door, so yeah, we don't get to ignore them. So yeah, this absolute unit has no choice. He's forced to ride the whole cavalry straight back to his humble home. The head knight, this pretty boy named Weiss, snaps off his helmet and grins like he's just won, way too smug for his own good. He saunters in like he owns the place, then spots Len's dad laid up in bed, recovering. Weiss bursts in and tells Len Ashton, "I've got a message for you." The Viscount locks in on you with a grin and tells you he thinks the world of you, then offers you a job at his residence. A big-shot noble just asked you to work for him. Yeah, this is where it gets insanely spicy. Len's soul basically yanks itself out of his body, totally shattered by confusion. Weiss tells him that their written invitations were getting ignored, so they showed up in person instead, and even though he knows Len serves the Clausel family, he doesn't care. Right here, one of the local guards steps in and loudly shuts it down, this ridiculous breach of protocol. You don't just waltz into another lord's territory and try to steal their best talent. This is a huge political diss, and this guy straight up calls them out for it. Two groups lock eyes and hold their ground, pure tension so thick it feels like you could slice it with a sword. But Weiss just flashes this smug, condescending smirk, then he shrugs it off completely, like it didn't even bother him. With that, he and his knights just vanish, like they've got a plan hiding in plain sight, tossing that casual "I'll be back" over their shoulders, because that exit was pure trouble. Once they're gone, Len's dad finally drops the real message, pure chaos, because it wasn't only Len they wanted, they're trying to swallow the whole village and fold it into Viscount Givens' domain. They're stuck right in the crossfire of a brutal political war. All right, hang on time for a crash course in politics, because the whole empire is torn into three wild, fighting factions. First, you've got the Imperial faction, the royal family's bootlickers, who swear only the Lion King's bloodline deserves to rule. Second comes the Hero faction, run by the legendary hero's descendants, where our boy Visk Givens calls home, and they're all about democracy, gunning to put the royals in their place. Finally, you've got the neutral faction, pacifists who don't want to fight at all, they just want everyone to calm down and chill. Their local lord, Baron Colossal, proudly wears the badge. He's a card-carrying member of this very crew. Len hits the brakes and snaps the question, can a noble really just swallow someone else's land? Turns out, if everyone's cool with it, then yeah, apparently that's how it works. But his dad isn't clueless. He knows a shady, lurking mode hides under the surface. The guard leans in and says Baron Colossal's a solid guy, and with the Saintess on their side, they're basically begging to get snapped up by every faction that wants to recruit them. Our hopeless hero finally realizes he's been neck-deep in the conspiracy for way longer than he ever suspected. They're not just involved in the conflict, they're trapped right in the heart of a political spiderweb. Len clenches his resolve and rereads Given's letter, trying to finally get a handle on what it all means. The Viscount's official excuse for the takeover is brutal and straight up. He claims the village has no real military power, and he even points to the recent Chief Wolven incident as proof. But Len's dad cuts in. This monster attack was a wild fluke, totally out of the ordinary. And that's when the gears in our guy's massive brain finally start grinding. He remembers this rule about feudal lords getting punished when monsters wreck their lands because they didn't bring enough forces. He snaps the pieces together at lightning speed, so now the question hits hard. Is Givens trying to set Baron Colossal up and pin incompetence on him? The room snaps into silence. He's onto something big. Len lays down the whole 5D chess play. Givens cooks up a crisis, shields the village, then turns and calls Baron Colossal useless. Right when he's cornered, she swoops in, grabs his lands, and drags him into the hero faction, like a medieval hostile corporate takeover, all in one brutal move. But now he's just getting started. He cranks that theory one more notch into full-on, unhinged genius. This whole case scenario, you're about to see how it all explodes. That so-called random, Wolven incident wasn't random at all. It was a trap, and Viscount Givens may have deliberately unleashed that monster on their village, which his dad outright calls insane. But Len insists, even without proof, this is the only theory that somehow snaps the whole mystery into focus. If that rumor's real, it'll detonate into a full-blown scandal that could crack the whole region wide open. The guard's jaw drops as he admits the Baron himself had the exact same suspicion, because this kid isn't just smart, he's a full-on strategic mastermind. And right now, all they can do is stay on high alert. Now he finally realizes he's just a pawn in some massive game way bigger than him. Time passes. As autumn slides into winter, he throws himself into brutal training, devours every lesson, and stands guard over his home with unwavering resolve. He even steps up to help lead the winter hunt, making sure the village stays stocked to the brim and safe through it all. The guards stare in disbelief at his talent, swearing he's destined for greatness in the capital, but Len humbly snaps back that he's the Ashton family heir, and this village is his real home. The guard straight up breaks down in tears from pure pride, and honestly, it's the most wholesome thing ever. Link sprints out the scene, Len trailing behind, and when they finally make it back home, you can practically feel the relief in the air. He turns to the maid and blurts out where his mom is, and she shrugs like it's nothing, saying she's hanging out with Rig Dono. Nope, he storms right into the kitchen. And his brain instantly fried, like the signal just couldn't take it. Right there at his kitchen table, Santi's Elna lounged like she paid rent, devouring snacks like she owned the place. She flinches at his stunned scream. Wait, what do you mean, why am I here? She asked, grinning like she knew exactly what she was doing. If you're not heading to Colossal, then it's obvious I'd come here instead. Our boy is totally, completely, and utterly lost for words, while this girl is pushing forward like nothing can stop her. Alright, let's jump right back into the chaos. After that whole blow-up with the Viscount, Lysia heads straight for our boy's family again, and this time it's not for small talk. She strides right into his dad's room, where he's bedridden and looks completely wrecked. She whips her hands outward, and a surge of pure holy light crashes over him like a cleansing wave. We're talking top-tier Santa-level healing magic. Dad snaps upright, feels like $1,000,000, and then tears up as he gives Lady Lysia a heartfelt thank you. Burst out of the room. Our main man leans in and asks if she's ever handled his dad before, then casually blurts, "Oh yeah, I did, you didn't know." The look on our hero's face is priceless. He's totally clueless, like he just got dropped into the middle of the chaos. Cue the flashback, there they are, sparring in the snow, swords slamming together like an action movie hit, and let me tell you, Lysia has been grinding hard. Her moves are razor-sharp now, and she's finally putting up a real fight. But in a rush to make it, she miscalculates and fully wipes out on the ice. Right when she's about to take a face full of snow, our boy rockets into action, sliding in like the picture-perfect hero to catch her. And boom, she gets hit and freezes in place, eyes locked on him as her face erupts into full-on 50 shades of red. She whips herself backward on the spot, completely rattled and flustered. Lysia's gasping for air, staring at this guy like, how does he have unlimited stamina? Even while she's still out of breath, she blurts out the truth. Sparring with him is the most fun she's ever had. She jabs her sword toward him and declares, same time tomorrow, we're sparring again, and next round I'm not losing. Our unsuspecting hero just stands there, completely blindsided as this wild, high-energy challenge crashes into their world. For the next few days, we're slammed with an epic montage, relentless sparring, and non-stop study halls. But every training arc has to slam its doors shut. Lysia finally departs, and our boy just stands there, watching her vanish into the snowy distance as the cold swallows her trail. He knows he's playing with fire, and the second he thinks about getting any closer to the story's heroine, he realizes it's probably a really bad move. That internal war, it's not in his head, it's burning in real time. Fast forward, winter finally breaks, and the snow starts melting away. And at last, spring bursts back into the world. Our main man is out with his dad, fully healed and back in action. Just when everything finally feels normal, a squad of knights barrels in. And yep, Viscount Givens's goons are back again, ready to ruin everyone's day. The lead knight smirks at them and drops the bomb. He's been waiting. He tells him the Viscount still wants to hire the dad, but then drops fresh good news that perks the son right up. Turns out the Viscount is lining up some serious favors, pulling strings that could shake the whole place. He's pushing to get our boy into the legendary Imperial Academy, straight into the special class. The whole family freezes, jaws drop to the floor, completely stunned. Then Len's dad starts spiraling, panicking that even just getting into the regular class is already a Herculean nightmare. That knight just laughs, saying the special class is a lockdown club reserved for the heirs of the 7 great nobles, and only a handful of certified geniuses who manage to earn the invite. But then boom, an official nod from the Assistant Minister of Justice drops, and just like that, he's holding a golden ticket. So what's our hopeless hero do with this insane, life-flipping chance? He stares the knight in the face like it's nothing, and flat out says, no thank you. The whole world freezes, the knight itself hits a literal blue screen glitch, and he can't process what the hell just happened. Inside, panic detonates in Len's chest as the special class hums with all the game's main characters, where he can't, under any circumstances, set foot. Trust me, signing up would slam him right into the game's main storyline, the exact trap he's been dodging this whole time. Out in public, he just mutters that he's happy staying in the village. The knight totally snaps, screaming at Len's dad, what are you thinking? But your dad's a certified G. He swallows his pride, throws an apology out there, and hits you with the real truth. It's his son's life and his son's choice. He lays down the law, says his family served the Colossals for generations, and makes it crystal clear, their pride isn't something you can buy. All right then, see you next time. But at last, he finally gives in. He storms off with a bitter, passive-aggressive vibe, muttering this is the most unfortunate thing, and then rides away. Our boy stares as they vanish, and you can almost see the sweat pouring off him. Days later, a fresh crew of riders storms in. It's Lysia and her guards, but something's horribly wrong. She's slumped over in the saddle, barely hanging on like she's seconds from death. This is her 3rd visit, and it's officially a full-on train wreck. They shove her inside and drag her straight to bed. This poor girl is burning with a fever so hot it feels unreal. Her guard tells everyone she's been sick for the past 3 days. A freaky sickness wrecks only the kids with serious magic power. It slams into you out of nowhere, and even though it can't spread from person to person, that crushing high fever can turn deadly fast. She's going to need 2 to 3 weeks of total bed rest to recover. Our main guy is freaking out, and it's written all over his face. 3 days later, her condition finally clicks into place and steadies. Len slips in to check on her, just to make sure she's okay. He bursts in to find her wide awake, and her cheeks are still blazing red from the fever. And right off the bat, she stares at him through tears and quietly whispers, I'm sorry. She can't shake the feeling that her illness just became a huge weight right as she showed up. An absolute unit rushes in right away, trying to soothe her, and he swears up and down that none of it is her fault. But she's spiraling, and she lays it all out. This whole trip was a mission to prove her worth, with the Saintess and Raleigh backing her so her family can make it. Now she's drowning in frustration, furious at herself for failing. To make it worse, she couldn't even land a win. She lost to him again in every training spar. The dam finally gives way, and right then she breaks into a heartfelt speech about her late mother. She was overflowing with joy when Lysia finally came into the world as the Saintess of White. And she kept betting on Lysia, convinced she'd go on to do something truly huge. Lysia admits she's only ever seen her mother painted in portraits, nothing more. But she clings to her mom's old childhood clothes like a lucky charm, so it feels like someone's cheering for her. Len realizes the outfit she's worn forever isn't just fabric, it's a priceless keepsake. Like Lysia's voice trembles as she admits she just wanted to live up to everyone's expectations, only for it all to fall apart anyway. Then she unleashes a full-on emotional nuke, and you can tell this is the final time she'll ever come here. Because she'd heard he rejected the Viscount's offer to go to the Academy. In her sweet, innocent heart, she convinces herself that he and his father risked everything just to prove their loyalty to her family, and she can't stand the thought that she's the reason any of it turned into trouble. She apologizes again, this time with a real, soul-deep regret for everything she's done. And our boy just sits there, heart getting absolutely shredded, thinking, this girl isn't anything, she's pure. Then the horrifying truth slams into him, because the one with the secrets, the one yanking the strings, is him. He stares at that pure-hearted girl, her shoulders collapsing under a weight that never belonged to her, and wonders, did it all really end like this? Alright, hold up. Len and that young lady are stuck in this super awkward post-battle moment, and the vibes are tense as hell. She's trying to tie things off and blurts out, "Can I borrow some ink?" because she wants to write her pops a letter. Our main man, the ultimate gentleman, slides a bunch of stationery into the box on my desk, then just says, "Go ahead, feel free." And then this absolute unit casually drops the biggest bombshell. "Actually, this is my room. I was just cleaning when you showed up." The look on her face is straight up, full-blown shock, and the moment it hits, she realizes she's just been a total headache, like a massive pain in the neck. But our hopeless hero, desperate to act cool, shot her a question. Next time she comes over, could she bring a fire-starting magic tool, just in case, a spare? He even goes, "I mean when you come back again." Like that completely wipes out the fact that she said she was never coming back. Her nerve explodes out of her mouth as she snarls that she's dodging him on purpose, because every time she shows up, chaos follows. Once he realizes he played it too boldly, he switches gears on the spot, smoothly, and argues that a sudden ambush spar would throw anybody off. He reassures her, saying it's all good if she just gives him a heads up next time. Then, with a slick verbal judo move, he flips her apology into a straight-up open invitation. Then he slips away with effortless grace, telling her to rest up and promising they'll talk for real the moment she's feeling better. She's left totally stunned, frozen in place like her brain just crashed and burned. The second Len slams that door shut, he facepalms like it hurts, and you can practically hear it. "What am I even saying?" he mutters, and Fakad's cool guy act falls apart instantly. Meanwhile, the young miss is still reeling from what just happened. "Don't worry, I'm telling her she can come back anytime." Just thinking it hits her head, and the headache starts to melt away. She decides to strike while the energy's still there, then slips over to his desk to write that letter. She yanks open the drawer, hunting for the ink box. But instead of ink, she whips out a folded piece of paper. She flips it open and dives into serious, dramatic words about valor, bravery, and gallantry. Her try to imagine it, because the horror is about to blow up. A memory surges through her head, then a voice cuts in. "Young lady, this looks an awful lot like a love letter." The truth smashes into her like a freight train, knocking the breath right out of her. And this right here is Hurler, hold up, because things are about to go crazy. The one she thought was gone for good, and this guy not only dug it back up, he read it. She snaps into full meltdown, because they've got it all wrong, and this isn't some sweet love letter. She mouths her words at an empty room, trying to talk herself into believing it, like I'm some robot with zero feelings for him or whatever. Sure, and I'm the King of England. She's absolutely mortified, freaking out over why he'd hang onto something that embarrassing. She tells herself, just toss it out, get rid of it. But instead, she yanks it to her chest and keeps it tight, busted. Lying in bed, she couldn't stop wondering what he must have been thinking after reading her secret, every cringe-packed word of it. The very next day, everything finally starts to feel normal again. Her nights brimming with gratitude step up to help fix up everything around the house. Everyone breaks off. Len is heading straight for the forest with his crew. The young miss stares out her window, breathing through it as she slowly pulls herself back together. For a split second, it looks like the universe might finally cut us a break. Then right on cue, the sky snaps open and the rain starts pouring down. The work crew dives under a tree to wait out the pounding rain, catching their breath while the downpour rages overhead. Suddenly our main guy catches a weird whiff. Does it smell like something? Burning. He blurts out, "You smell that too." It smells like a controlled burn, but something's definitely wrong. His blood turns to ice because that awful smell is drifting straight from the house. The whole building gets swallowed by a roaring inferno. He bolts across the field like his life is on the line, sprinting full speed, then. But it's already a nightmare. He digs into the knights he left behind and finds they've been erased completely. Some poor guy gets his neck chomped clean off. No accident, no mistake. Panic crashes through him. She's still inside. He barrels into the blazing house without blinking, only to discover the guards inside have already met the same grim end. That ambush hit like a lightning strike, perfect timing, pure brutality. And there, right inside the roaring flames, stands the mastermind, a shady hooded fiend backed by a terrifying winged beast. The unconscious young girl is sprawled right behind them. Len spots it the moment it shows up, an instant nightmare, a mana eater, and a solid double D-rank monster. Seeing her in danger, our hero throws caution aside, roars her name, and charges straight into the threat. The hooded figure whips around and snaps, so your Len Ashton, now get away from her. Before Len can even blink, the whole world lurches, warping and twisting like reality's about to snap. His vision warps, his power drains to nothing, and he crumples onto his knees. The villain finally snaps and unveils his secret weapon, just a tiny incense burner. This isn't some random air freshener. One whiff of it could knock a dragon out for days. Realizing he's been totally outplayed, Len is left frozen in horror, watching it all unfold. As his consciousness starts slipping away into a dead black void, he jolts awake, yanked up in the back of a rattling cart, chained tight in the dark. He's completely baffled, frantically trying to work out where he even is. Then boom, he finally spots her. She's right there beside him, still chained up too, but thank goodness she's alive, still breathing. Their kidnapper shrugs and tells them the knockout gas will knock them out for around 4 days, so they better just play along. For days, Len keeps looking out, and then it hits him. They've already carved their way deep into the mountains, miles from absolutely anywhere. This is past bad, it's pure doom, because this beast tamer can control not one, but 2 D-rank monsters, but the real disaster isn't the villain, it's her, because her condition is spiraling out of control. He knows that if they keep her trapped for even one more day, her life is about to hang by a thread. And right then something in him snaps. He stares at her, determination blazing in his eyes, and vows with pure certainty, I will save her. All right, buckle up. Right away we jump into Lysia, and she is absolutely not okay, unconscious, tears pouring down her face like she's hit the end of her strength. But as he keeps watch over her, he can feel the countdown in his bones, his jaw clenches, and with tonight on the line, he knows exactly what he has to do. Beneath a blazing full moon, their prison wagon squats in the dark forest, radiating pure danger. Their kidnapper, a sketchy, hooded stranger, sits posted by the campfire, totally clueless, like they don't have a single care in the world. This is it, our main man's big shot, the moment he's been craving. Even chained up tight, he grits his teeth and starts channeling every ounce of his strength, focusing it all. And then bam, a sterilizer just drops out of thin air, right in front of us, the demon sword of metal, baby. Those unbreakable chains, one single touch, and they get completely smashed into nothing. Our hero stares at the sword, and pure shock hits him as he realizes it's absurdly, dangerously sharp. He immediately jams it into the wagon to break free, but it only pokes a tiny hole through the wood. Yeah, turns out it's a sword, not some battering ram escape tool. So yeah, plan B. He hauls Lysia out the back while their captor is passed out, snoring away. But hey, this is a fantasy world. So naturally, a pack of wild dragon lizards crashes the escape party like it owns the place. One of them comes screaming down like a missile, and our hero's boy has to throw himself at Lysia, knocking her aside at the last second. They slammed into the ground with a brutal thud. Turns out that's a blessing, because the hooded creep snaps awake and detonates a cataclysmic burst of energy that fully vaporizes the wagon they were just riding in. This attack is so unhinged that even the monster swinging at them pauses, staring like, what's your problem? The explosion erupts, and a brutal shockwave rips through the entire forest. With pure lightning reflexes, this absolute unit steps in front of Lysia, then whips his sword around like a helicopter blade, smashing away the whole magical barrage. The captor's mind flatlines with shock. Wait, where did you even get that weapon? Without a single word, he hurls the sword with full force, pinning the guy's staff to a nearby tree. Then, just to rub it in, he pulls out a Sikun sword and summons the demon sword of wood right in front of this guy. With one sharp point of the blade, he rips open the ground, and massive vines explode out, snatching one of the monsters and locking it in place. And then finished it for good by grabbing the captor himself and tying him up for good measure. The guy's losing it, he's yelling natural mages, like he just saw a ghost and his soul left his body. And just like that, our hero snatches Lysia up and bolts toward the horse like his life depends on it. Even with vines tangled around him, the captor isn't finished. "You're not getting away," he roars. But this hopeless hero still has crazier tricks up his sleeve. He calls in a worn-out weapon, the demon sword of banditry, a souped-up dagger that hits like a nightmare. He hurls it, and like magic, it snatches the staff straight out of the captor's hand. And he just stands there, stunned and helpless. Then he snaps, "My staff, what the hell does this mean?" They rocket off on horseback, while the local wildlife keeps tearing each other apart in a non-stop, chaotic brawl. The captor finally rips free, eyes blazing with pure rage. "Not this time, Len Ashton, you're not getting away." Then he surges into a power-up, and those wild tattoos on his arms start glowing like they're alive. He slams his ultimate technique down and summons every beast in the forest to go hunt them relentlessly. Out of nowhere, a hellish stampede of demonic apes, battle boars, and giant wolves barrels toward them, and the chase explodes into chaos. Our guy immediately blurts it out. This dude's power lets him control monsters that are weaker than him. They're staring down an army where sheer numbers crush every last bit of skill. Len just snaps his fingers and brings that metal sword back like it's nothing, then unleashes a colossal spinning slash that tears through the air, as it mows down dozens of charging monsters into bloody mincemeat. But the horde never runs out. They crash into the horse, clawing and biting at its legs like a living nightmare. A wolf beast rockets forward, snapping straight toward Lysia, and Len has to slam his own arm in the way. Then he takes a brutal bite for it. Just when you think it can't get worse, one of those dragon lizards from before dives in out of nowhere and blasts a blazing wall of fire. They barely dodged in time, then burst into a sprint straight into the woods as the whole forest erupted in flames behind them. Meanwhile, the story snaps north to the chilling little town of Closel. Right there, a nobleman gets the gut punch of his life. His daughter, Lysia, has been kidnapped. The commander's own guard drops to his knees, groveling and begging forgiveness for failing him, and pleading with everything he had for one more shot to save her. But Lysia's father, Lizard, is weirdly calm, like he's already figured out the storm coming. He tells the man he's not at fault. Lysia ordered him to step away, but he has to move right now, and race to tell the Emperor. Before he can even send a messenger, a servant slams the door open. Urgent visitors from the Imperial capital are here. At the base of his towering staircase, 3 men in crisp official uniforms stand like they mean business. They're the ones sent straight from the Minister of Justice. But they're not here to help, no way. Their leader faces them with a stone-cold stare and declares Baron Clossel is under scrutiny for conspicuous negligence. Crackling blame rains down on him for the monster attacks that snatched his own daughter, and now the dirty political chess moves start. Our heroes get thrown right into the middle of it. All right, buckle up, our hero already snatched the princess to safety, but now their cross-country road trip hits a brutal pothole right out of the gate. That poor girl is burning up with a nasty fever, and our main guy is stepping in as a full-on 5-star wilderness nurse. He whips up a potent medicinal brew from herbs he's scavenged deep in the woods. She glares at the bowl of green sludge with pure suspicion, like there's no way she's buying into these new diet plans. But hey, when you're sick and stranded in the middle of nowhere, you gulp down that disgusting sludge. That taste hits her senses like a punch, and the second it lands, she looks ready to bite the soul right out of her body. Our hopeless hero wastes no time. Thrusting water into her hands, she gulps it down like her life is on the line. After that brutal taste-testing nightmare, they slammed into a full-on battle against the river. And they push on, escorted by this absolute unit who carries her the entire way. A few days later, they're back on the road, swaggering like battle-hardened adventurers who have seen it all. Her fever finally breaks and she can think straight, then blurts, "Where on earth did you get those herbs?" Turns out our boy traded some monster parts at the village they rolled past, then flexed his hunting skills to take down a giant boar and grabbed even more travel supplies on top of that. She's honestly overwhelmed by how capable he is, and she lets out a heartfelt thank you that hits straight in the feels. He shrugs it off with a slick, cool grin like it's nothing at all. She snaps into focus, scans the area, and points out that they're stepping right into their near Viscount-given territory. Our main man leans in and confirms, "Yeah, that's the Baldur Mountains we're looking at." He can even navigate from right here. Honestly, that's seriously impressive. Yeah, the only reason he knows this is because he's standing in the final boss area of his favorite video game, classic Ice Guy protagonist move. She figures it'll take her about 4 days to reach her home, Colossal. But she can't stop worrying. Her family's safety is hanging by a thread. Our unsuspecting hero casually drops a bombshell. Don't sweat it, because they weren't even home that day. The way he says it hits like pure confidence, so calm and certain that she has no choice but to trust him. He proposes they take a quick detour to pay their respects to the Baron before they head back. She's so overwhelmed she can barely get words out, just one more tear-soaked thank you. When night hits, the rain suddenly comes crashing down. They scramble for cover, and our guy sparks up a fire before the cold can finish him off. Tonight's dinner is a huge bird, one he apparently ripped straight out of the sky. She's totally stunned, firing off the question, how on earth did he manage to snag it? He just shrugs and says it was a vine trap, simple, ruthless, and straight-up badass, and she's like, so that mysterious sword did it. But he keeps trolling her, smirking that the power's a total secret, like that's supposed to make it okay. So mean. Then he yanks out a shattered crystal pendant. She leans in and asks, is this busted magic tool or what? Bingo, this dude admits he ripped it right out from the beast tamer's hands while they were scrambling out in total chaos. They guessed it was the same soundproofing tool, bolted to the carriage that swallowed the noise. The mystery's finally settled, for now, and the dinner table gets lit. He spots a tempting stash of freshly cooked bird skewers, and admits the presentation's pretty basic, yeah. She takes a deep breath and decides to go for it. She takes a bite, and for a split second, her face goes totally unreadable. Then a glowing smile explodes across her face, and man, it tastes like pure victory. Our boy's face lights up with pure relief and real joy the moment he hears it. The adventure surges onward, smashing through jagged rocky terrain. They tear through lush orchards, grabbing fresh fruit straight off the trees. And then they tore through ancient bridges. They slammed their clothes into the stream and washed every last bit of laundry there, which honestly feels like this wild story just stopped mid-chaos to share a sweet, cozy little moment. While her clothes dry, she stares into the distance, completely swallowed by her own thoughts. Our hopeless hero finally spots a smudge on her face. Without a single word, he carefully brushes it away like it never happened. That one tiny move just fries her mind instantly. He flashes a calm smile and tells her they'll finally have a real conversation once she's feeling better. But her face is already blazing red. He presses his fingers to her forehead and watches the fever vanish, which only makes her cheeks burn hotter. She snaps his hand away and tells him, through shaking confidence, that she's totally fine. But later, she can't stop replaying his letter in her head. Every single thing that's happened is still haunting her. Finally, she steps up and confronts him head-on. You're keeping something from me, aren't you? Our boy is totally mind-blown, like nothing makes sense anymore. She snaps, why did you keep my letter? Stuffing it away inside a locked box, like it was a secret worth guarding forever. His mind just drops out asterisk, blank as if someone slammed a switch. What do you mean? He asks, totally thrown off. She snaps back, pissed, don't act clueless. She's talking about the thing sitting in his room. Then it all clicks, bam, a flashback hits. His sister grabs him and demands to know why he's hoarding a whole box of used magic stones. He couldn't stop himself, he just thought they looked absolutely stunning. Turns out, it's a weird little family quirk that everyone seems to share. So the absolute unit is convinced she's talking about his weird rock collection. Then he blurts out his side of the story, trying to make her understand, right from that first glance. It's been haunting my thoughts for ages. She's telling the story of the Reikikai people, but you're seeing it all through her eyes. If this guy didn't just unload the most poetic, completely out-of-pocket confession anyone's ever heard. Her brain just blue-screened, like the whole world froze inside your head. She's a full-on flustered mess, while he just grins, like, honestly, it's not weird at all to wonder about things. He even starts doubting she's even okay since those stones came from monsters. Bro, read the room. She finally snaps, yeah, I get it, stop bringing it up. She's completely wrecked with panic, staring at this sudden love confession like, what am I even supposed to do with that? After an unbearably awkward silence stretched on and on, she buries her face and whispers through her breath, just use my name. If you really have to, just say my name. He's just standing there, totally baffled, like his brain can't catch up to what hit him. After what feels like forever, they finally stumble into a tiny village. Our main guy swaps the rest of the giant boar for a stash of medicinal herbs, because they're completely out. An old woman steps in and demands, so, where are you guys headed? And the second she hears colossal, she snaps her hand out and points them straight to the right way. But then she drops a crushing bombshell that hits like a punch to the chest. The Baron of Closel is seconds away from getting punished. Her entire world just freezes, what the hell? That old woman can't quite pin down the details, but rumors are blazing that the Baron secretly sparked monster attacks on Viscount Givens. That was the final, last straw, no turning back now. They immediately bolt forward, sprinting at full speed straight for Colossal. She's in total denial, like it's impossible, like my dad would never, ever pull something like that. Our boy instantly senses something seriously off, like the whole story is hiding a dark secret. It's a loud, obvious setup, like the story is begging you to notice. Soon, the city of Clausal bursts into view like a legend you can finally touch. But the moment they pull up, someone else shows up too, right on cue. A fancy carriage rattles through the streets, turning the public into a sea of stunned eyes. The door swings open with a sharp creak, like something about to change for real, and a slick pair of boots clacks onto the pavement. It's Viscount Givens, and man, he's grinning like he owns the whole world. He declares that once he takes control of this territory, the hero faction's reach is going to explode and spread everywhere. This is the second he's been chasing. This is his asterisk coup, and he's not sharing it. Of Liamalt, to claw its way out of the wreckage and rise again. They've gotta smash the Colossals first. The time has come, all right, buckle up. Night drops, and our heroes are in a high-stakes game of tag, except the knights chasing them are fuming with rage. They're absolutely tearing across the plains. But these armored goons are clinging to them like glue, not letting go for a second. Lysia whips her head over her shoulder, pure panic flooding her, because they can't shake him no matter what they do. She's driving their horse like it's seen no mercy, squeezing every last breath out of it, praying they can somehow crest the next hill and stumble into civilization. Right when they think they've finally got a shot, a brand new player barges in, and this one brings pets with them. Perched on a jagged rock spire, a crooked hooded figure looms in the shadows, guarded on both sides by two real-deal dragons. The guy just casually thrusts out his hand like, "Yep, I knew you'd come this way." Our boy's face crumples. His soul practically flees his body the moment he recognizes the beast tamer. And this dude doesn't waste a second. The ground starts trembling like it's violently seizing. And their horse panics out of pure fear. But just like that, the whole world explodes into a screaming tidal wave of pure nightmare fuel. We're talking about walking plants, killer flowers, and straight-up unholy monstrosities exploding out of the dirt. It's like that garden salad snapped and decided to strike back. Then it summoned an army of giants and snarling rats crashing the party. Without skipping a single beat, Lysia shoots straight in and demands a sword. But our main guy is totally thrown off, because the knights hunting them are charging straight into this chaos like it's a life-or-death trap. The knight starts roaring, "Wait, stop," as he bolts into the alleys and a whole swarm of rats closes in. Pro tip, rats don't care who's on your side. When they hit, it's a teeth-and-claws tsunami that buries every alliance alive. It's pure beauty and total chaos. Instant karma hits the second it matters. The beast tamer lanes over the edge and scoffs, right when you can't afford it. He lays down an ultimatum: hand yourselves over peacefully, or he'll drag you in with force. And his force means unleashing a swarm of giant, terrifying wasps. Then he goes and pulls the wildest mess around. And Len bares his blade as thorny vines lunge in to snag him. But right before he can even make a move, Lysia snaps like a trap. She snatches a blade and chops those mushroom monsters to bits like she's hosting a killer cooking show. Our unsuspecting heroine stares in shock like, "Wait, when did I get this insanely strong?" She snaps back, "I trained to beat you," while she absolutely obliterates some poor slime monsters right in front of you. This girl is a full-on whirlwind of destruction, blasting through the demonic vegetable patch and leaving chaos in her wake. But even with her fresh powers, they're still stuck, so they finally bet everything on one move: drop the beast tamer himself. And just like that, right on cue, the whole situation spirals, the ground erupts, and the shaking turns violent. A colossal sandworm from hell rips up through the ground below. Lysia's scream gets snuffed out instantly because this absolute unit doesn't even blink. He just calmly yanks a brutal new blade, the demon sword of metal. With one smooth swing, almost like it didn't even matter, he hurls a slash of raw energy straight through the monster, cutting it cleanly from head to the other side. The worm's two halves crumple apart in a violent burst, rock blasting everywhere, gore spraying like an apocalypse. Now it's Lysia's turn to freeze in shock. "Hey, you're way stronger too," she blurts, like it was painfully obvious. From his perch, even the beast tamer can't hide the awe on his face. He mutters under his breath, still feeling the wind pressure from that attack slam all the way back into him. He's got this look on his face, pure, genuine intrigue, like something just hooked his soul. But our hopeless hero doesn't even look his way. his eyes go huge, screaming with a brand new kind of terror. He's locked onto something far off in the distance, something so vicious it makes a dragon-taming wizard look like nothing more than a warm-up act. Why he leans in and whispers, and his voice shakes like it's about to break. "What's she doing here?" The beast tamer's face shifts, deadly serious, like the moment a hunt is about to begin. He knows exactly who Len means, and when he finally says the name of that fresh, nightmare-level presence, Yurku, everything in the air feels colder. All right, buckle up, our guy's in full-on trouble, and things are about to go legendary. We kick off with a fresh face stepping onto the field, Yurku the Beast Tamer. He's one of the 7 legendary heroes, so legendary that people swear his reputation shows up 5 minutes before he even walks in. And from our main man's future knowledge, this whole encounter is blowing way past the date it was supposed to happen. Len's internal monologue hits like a record scratch. What are you even doing there? This isn't some random cameo. Yurku isn't here to play, he's a legit menace. That guy's got a brutally cruel streak, and he got exiled after he murdered his own family. As punishment, they slammed a brutal magic seal across his arms. They nerfed him so brutally that he can barely juggle even 2 skills at once unless magic steps in to save him. Len snaps the pieces together. This shady elf's only here because Viscount Givens hired him, likely dangling the promise of getting rid of that annoying seal as payment. As Len plays detective, he and Lysia are still trapped in a raging sea of mushroom monsters, and they're closing in fast. Lysia, sweet as a miracle, whips around toward our hero. And he blurts, "So, you got any tactics, or are we really just gonna wing it?" Our guy glares at the unholy trio, an ancient hero, a pet dragon, and 2 hellish 2D Wolven ranked to bite. And his face screams it. Victory isn't just slipping away, it's trapped on some other planet. But right when despair starts to crawl in, everything suddenly feels hopeless. Lysia flashed that sly, knowing smile. She leans in like it's nothing, then drops the bombshell. "Len, I'm the Saintess of White. Don't you remember?" Then she flashes an absolutely insane amount of holy magic like, "Want more?" Like the Len's soul rips out of his body. A massive tidal wave of sacred energy crashes over him like the world's about to end. Blinding light crashed over him, engulfing him whole. He's completely flabbergasted, like his brain just short-circuited. Sparks roared up through his sword, like some wild, ridiculous power surge had finally found its way in. Even Yurku, strapped atop his rock, can't ignore it when the whole vibe flips out of nowhere. With his brand new power roaring in his veins, our hopeless hero finally stops drowning in despair and storms right into the horde. Sword lifted high, like it was about to split the sky. Then he unleashes one brutal slash, and a web of pure light rips through everything, destroying it all before it can even breathe. Instantly, he blasted dozens of monsters into harmless confetti. Yurku freezes in shock, sacred magic just detonates in front of him. Lysia is still standing, but you can tell she's running on fumes after that huge buff. Spotting a crack in the defense, Yurku's dragon rockets in like a lightning strike. He snaps his hands together, and a brutal torrent of fire erupts everywhere. But Lysia isn't finished. She snaps up her hand like she's about to unleash something, raising a golden barrier that shrugs off the entire fire blast like it's nothing at all. Flames split apart and burst to the sides, carving a path around them. And the dragon gets blasted backward by the brutal recoil. Screams ripped through the air as agony crushed every breath. My boy stares at Lysia, and pure fire sparks in his eyes, because with her at our side, we're getting out of this alive. She locks eyes back with her, and the thought hits the exact same way. This is the ultimate power couple showdown. Everything's tense, and they're about to throw down right now. Yurku's had it. He jabs a finger into the air and makes his point like it's the final warning. Roars echoing, "I'm not stopping. I'll finish this right here." The final showdown finally kicks off. It turns into a total brawl, horse charging a dragon, and pure chaos erupts. Clinging to the moment when the final strike would land. The impossible actually happens. While the dragon barrels ahead in a rage, it completely whiffs Lenin, then drives its own unstoppable charge straight through its master's chest. The blast hits, everyone gets flung like ragdolls, and Yurku gets yeeted off his crumbling pet. And in the chaos that erupts, Len and Lysia gets hurled off their horse. The battlefield holds its breath as the dust finally settles, every sound just vanishes. The monster is completely wiped out. Our heroes are getting crushed, and the whole world feels like it's slipping out from under them. Len rushes to Lysia's side, and you can tell she's totally wiped out. He realizes that one single, epic buff drained everything she had. But the brawl isn't finished. Len tilts his head and sees Yurku still crumpled into a ledge, glaring at the new hole punched straight through his torso. The elf leans over, staring straight at the wound like it's a countdown to something worse. With hands soaked in blood, he gripped it tight. And then boom, his face breaks into a grin. A low, unhinged cackle bursts out of his mouth, like he's lost control. And it all spiraled into a full-blown, maniacal cackle. Blood pours out as he wheezes, barely able to breathe. After all this time, I still can't land a single kill. He crumples to the ground, like all fight just got ripped out of him. But right when you think it's finished, his eyes snap wide open, boom, fixing straight onto Lysia. Now I've still got gas in the tank, and I'm not stopping yet. Then he erupts into the wildest villain monologue ever, ranting that watching people teeter on the edge of death hits him with an ecstasy he can't even put into words. He straight up says, "Better than that, yeah, you can read." And then boom, some shadowy nightmare bursts up from the ground behind him. His mortally wounded dragon starts to crack and reform into something brand new and way darker. Yurku lifts his arm with a twisted grin, and you can feel it. He's summoning a mana eater. And poured fuel on its rampage. He's seconds away from slicing off his own limb, and trust me, this is about to spiral into something way, way worse. Alright, let's jump right back into this chaos. Our boy just watched that shady elf snap completely, screaming like a diva with an absolutely unhinged look that left me stunned. And what's he got cooking for dinner? He's offering up his entire arm. He drops the whole limb in the shadow beast's jaws and lets it chow down like the beast is throwing a one-beast banquet. Len, our clueless hero, can only stand there and watch his soul practically fly out in sheer, bone-chilling terror. But the elf, this absolute unit, erupts into a maniacal cackle, and blood splatters from his mouth like confetti. A second later, it all finally hits. Pain tears through him, and he's screaming pure despair. So tell me, what did you really think would happen, my guy? The monster lunges into wild thrashing, like it instantly realizes, way too late, that its life choices were a total disaster. That arm's packed with cursed seal magic, like the elf is screaming, "Swallow it." Whoa, and yeah, this guy's got zero chill. Suddenly, the seal bursts open and chains whip out, snapping around the elf's body. He stares down at his arm stump, now fully disintegrated, and still acts shocked. "Was my arm not enough?" he whines. "Buddy, you picked the bit you don't get to back out now." He lets out a shaky sigh, accepts his fate like a final bow, and with zero regrets, only ready for that sweet, ending release of death. But the monster's got a whole different game plan, and a shadowy spear gets yeeted straight through the elf's chest. Then he bursts out with one last, desperate gasp, and the monster rips through the tree he's trapped inside, revealing a secret potion that exploded on impact, splattering him head to toe. Even with death creeping in, he's still laughing like the potion was somehow worth it. This guy's priorities are completely upside down. Since its last owner is out of the fight, the shadow beast whips its focus to our heroes and rips the air apart with a bone-shaking roar. Our boy slams into the ground, utterly crushed and drowning in the chaos. But he scrambles back to his feet, sword raised and ready to strike. Even with his final breath, the elf is still hating on everything, whispering to the monster to wipe them both out. The beast rockets into the sky and absolutely hammers down right in front of them. It rockets ahead at an absolutely ridiculous speed. And our main man finally clocks it. He's totally, completely, utterly screwed. That beast doesn't even blink. It just slams him so hard he's living in next week. He gets flung around like a total ragdoll, getting slammed again with a ruthless follow-up hit. Then came a brutal tail whip that cracked through the air. This isn't really a fight, it's a full-on beatdown. Len gets launched like a missile, getting whipped clear across the battlefield. And then he whipped out another tail swipe, just to make sure. The dying elf just sits there, smirking like he knows exactly how this ends. As our helpless hero gets completely smashed to pieces, he realizes this mana eater is way stronger than before, like, at least in rank. Scratch that, the monster flexes, and that power climbs even higher. It unleashes another bone-rattling roar, roaring right through the proof. Len digs in, but you can tell, he's hanging on by a thread. Lysia gets blasted backward by the shockwave, flying through the air like she's caught in a hurricane. And just like that, the monster barrels in again, smashing our boy straight into the air. Blood bursts from his mouth, while Lysia screams his name. The beast towers over them, poised to finish them, right now. The elf cackles like crazy, grinning through his final, blazing rush of ecstasy. What a total creep. Just when he's finally getting his moment, Lysia starts glowing like a countdown to something huge. A blazing wave of light surges over them like a tidal blast, and she softly slips her hand into Len's. She throws him a grateful smile for saving her, even while admitting she's selfish deep down. Then she slams him with the ultimate sacrifice move, leave this place, stay safe. Our boy's eyes go wide, there's no way he's buying this. Right when that monster's massive foot slams down to crush them flat. Len locks eyes with her and doesn't blink. I'd never even think about leaving you behind, Lady Lysia. Come on, let's go. Is stunned, with the foot of doom hanging just inches from his fate. Len thrusts his sword up for a desperate last-ditch block. He pours every last drop of strength into it, like his whole world depends on that one move. Screams ripped through the air as the pressure kept climbing. And then, snap, the sword bursts apart instantly, shattering into a million razor-sharp pieces. The beast doesn't even flinch, and roars victory thundering through the air. Len is left staring at a useless hilt in his hands, like the whole moment just slipped through his fingers. Before he got slammed backward, he slams down beside Lysia, utterly crushed and beaten. All he can do is sob, because his last hope is shattering right in front of him. But the monster closes in with terrifying speed. As Lysia presses her hand to the lens bracelet, it bursts into a fierce glow, and the gem flares bright like it's reacting to her. A system message suddenly flashes. Wait, a brand new demon sword, right in the middle of all this chaos. The universe really said, here, take legendary loot mid-fight. The monster clocks the power spike, and for the first time, hesitates mid-attack. So he slams forward anyway. What a huge mistake. Fueled by pure protagonist energy, he roars at the top of his lungs. As long as I can protect her, I'll do it. Oh my wings. Forget it, I don't care, take this. The bracelet explodes into a blade of pure light, and the psycho elf just stares in disbelief. The monster snaps its claw through the air, right for the attack. But this time Len charges straight at it, using his brand new power-up like a weapon. The light sword cuts straight through the shadow beast's arm like it's nothing, quick, clean, and terrifying, totally vaporizing the limb. The monster starts to unravel, roaring in pure agony as holy fire chews through it. The elf is unraveling, his sanity is slipping away, but how the heck did it get this bad? The attack detonates outward, blasting a towering dome of raw energy into the air, unleashing a pillar of light so massive it should probably come with its own zip code. The light dies out, and shimmering particles burst into the air like tiny stars. Our hero and Lysia are left drifting in the wreckage, both frozen in pure, stunned silence. They're standing there, stunned by this calm, crushing force, and all they can think is, what just happened to us? Alright, let's jump in. After the total chaos of the last battle, the world finally exhales, and that's exactly when you should stop getting comfortable. The political snakes are already slithering in, creeping closer to strike. Our hopeless hero Len gets yanked awake bright and early because the news is insane. He's being transferred straight to the capital, meaning he's paraded around like a trophy before they finally throw him to the executioner, while everyone else swears the whole trial's a rigged sham and that some shady viscount was pulling every string from the very beginning. You don't say. And just like that, the procession of shame kicks off, an entire parade hauled out to move one kid. Our boy is having the worst time, and it's completely understandable. He sits on horseback, ringed by guards, and you can tell he's about to steal the show at a festival so grim it feels like a warning. Leading this entire curate is Viscount Givens, a man who looks like he personally invented punchable faces. His knight's sidekick looks completely baffled, demanding to know why that Viscount is so obsessed with Len and Lysia. I'm saying she's got serious potential, but our main guy is out here stuck as some plain old country knight, right? The Viscount just smirks like he knows more than you do, just a country knight, you say. Oh, this guy has something huge. He finally spills that he accidentally unearthed a secret tied to the Ashton family name. Turns out, grabbing those things is the whole ticket to climbing up among the heroes, and this isn't some petty frame job, it's something way bigger. He cackles that he's the only one who knows the truth, and he leaves his knight totally stunned and lost. Givens starts rambling, claiming he saw a mysterious light out in the forest, and he can't stop wondering if it was the saint's power. The knight reports that he's already dispatched men to investigate, so yeah, it sounds like they're already planning to silence every witness. Givens basically tells him, don't you dare mess this up. This situation is already a disaster, and if you fail, nobody's going to forgive it. The pressure is crushing down, no excuses left. The procession bursts through the city gates, riding straight into the wild open country. The whole world feels grim, and the bad guys are crushing everyone right now. Then bam, one lone rider rockets into view on the horizon, charging straight at them like a missile. The guards all at once snap, like their minds just break in real time. So who's this legendary writer? It's Lysia. She storms in like a valkyrie, the sun blazing behind her as she comes in hot. The lead guard's jaw drops so hard it could have shattered the ground. She looks straight up royal, and let me tell you, she's not here to mess around. The guards are losing their minds, screaming, "Princess." Len can't even blink. His eyes refuse to believe what they're seeing. Then he tries to move, but his handler clamps down and stops him cold. Lysia locks eyes with him, tells him she's totally fine, and promises they'll hash out the details later. This absolute unit's only mission is to make sure he knows the cavalry is here. Len spots her and instantly steels himself, refusing to let their friend's sacrifice go to waste. Viscount Givens rides in, dripping with condescension, and here's what you must be. But Lysia slashes him clean out of the conversation. Watch your mouth. She flashes her rank on the spot, letting that clown know she's a viscount, not some lowly criminal. Givens can't stop laughing, it's pure gold. Then he hits you with the coldest line imaginable. Don't get it twisted, it's your father, the criminal. Oof, yeah, that one really hit hard. Givens can tell she's wiped out, but she masks the exhaustion with a fearless smile. He's convinced he's got her completely figured out, just a worn-out little girl he can finally label. He smirks and dares her. Can she really keep up that bold, in-control act? That's when Lysia whips out her trump card, the magical tool she snatched from the elf assassin he hired. Boom, evidence hits, then he just scoffs like it means nothing. Lysia pushes forward and snaps that the attack came from the elf he hired, like he just set them up. The Viscount eases in, slowly and dramatically polishing his glasses, like he's got zero worries at all. Come on, would you really brag about having Evans with just some magical trinket? Be real, he snaps, basically calling her an idiot. Cornered, Lysia spits out her last accusation, and right then, the Ur Knights charge in from the nearby forest and attack us. Givens is acting clueless, right under my knights' noses. Then she does it straight up points at that pretty boy knight from earlier, and I instantly know his face, because he's the same one who swung his sword at me and Len. The knight is pouring sweat, like the whole world can't cool down. He stammers out a pathetic excuse, insisting he was out there commanding beyond the forest on the Viscount's orders. Givens spots his opening, and with terrifying calm, decides Miss Saint got played by someone else. Then he starts gaslighting her right in broad daylight. Lysia fires off a fierce demand for a real investigation in her town, but Givens flashes a grin so nasty it could sour milk, and you won't even need to worry about that. Lysia's knight inches forward and tries to shut her down with a quick objection. But Givens just cuts through him with straight up, no messing authority, game over, he's won. The loyal knight clenched his jaw, fighting back sheer frustration, but just when hope crumbles, a soft voice cuts through the silence. Len, show it now, he whispers, show me your hands. Givens is totally stumped. Wait, who are you even talking to? Our main guy lifts his head, and those eyes aren't heroic, they're predatory. With a terrifying calm he drawls, so your knight. The Viscount's smug smirk dies on his face, and pure raw shock rushes in, because the game just flipped. All right, buckle up, we're diving back into the chaos. They're dragging our boy away, but the Saintess won't let it happen. She yells into the night, swearing she, Eslan, her voice trembling, but her conviction burning through every word. The shady Viscount and his pet knight don't buy it for a second, but she barrels on anyway, show me the back of your hand. She insists those scars belong there, the same ones she and the real Len carved out together. The imposter's eyes bulge in pure terror, and it's like his soul has instantly fled his body. That grizzled old knight captain, clearly not all noise and no sense, turns to the guy and demands, show me you've got it. But Blondie spirals into full panic, stammering, no, no, as he blurts it at the Viscount. This guy tries to brush it off like, I was at work, but the old knight isn't buying a word. He slams the demand again, voice dropping low as thunder. Then he snaps into intimidation mode, roaring so loud, and my hand jerks straight to the sword, quick as a lie. This absolute unit isn't playing around for a second. The imposter is drenched in sweat, and his composure is obliterated. The crowd murmurs in anticipation, sensing that an epic drama is about to explode in front of them. With hands shaking like crazy, he slowly peels off his gauntlet. Metal clatters onto the ground, then every single person freezes and stares. With a wounded hand, the old knight leans in and studies it, then snaps that your potions must have been pretty awful. He points out the cuts like, yep, those are sword wounds, but then he flashes the real shocker. The clean white burns from holy magic healing. And as he breaks it down, no matter how perfect the potion is, holy magic always leaves a wound trace for a while, busted, completely and utterly busted. The Viscount is seething. His entire scheme is exploding in smoke right before his eyes. But this shady politician is a master at spinning lies. He erupts into cackling laughter and pushes for a brand new committee to prove the knight's innocence, the same old Stalin delay trick. And just like that, without even a blink, he snaps. He blasts the truth, first trial's already done, and because the law says so, the ruling to transfer Baron Colossal is final. The crowd is utterly lost, and our main guy can only mutter, huh. The Saintess and the old knight are completely stunned by this blatant power grab. The Viscount smirks like he knows the ending, declares the show's done, and turns to walk out. Hope withers off the Saintess's face as she watches them start to leave. She stretches her hand out, then nothing happens. The moment the procession kicks off, they drag our hero away for good. Tears gather in her eyes as she panics, desperate to figure out what she can do next. Then wham, one sharp clap snaps through the whole square. Everyone snaps their heads around, frozen in place, because who in the world just dared to interrupt? A sharply dressed older gentleman with a legendary mustache stands there, clapping slow like he's savoring every moment. He steps forward, shoes clacking on the cobblestones, so wonderful, so dignified, so noble that his courage deserves to be praised. This dude struts up like he owns the whole damn place, then drops the line, "I couldn't have witnessed a more beautiful story." Saintess freezes in total confusion. "Wait, who are you?" The man dips his head with a small bow, then he says, "Edgar, that's me." He flashes her a calming smile and says, "Mighty saint, leave it to me." Edgar wastes no time making it crystal clear. He's not here to ruin their moment. He's here to help them bring the story home. Then he turns to the Viscount and bows, "What an honor to meet you. I've come to Colossal on the master's orders." The Viscount snaps, "So you're going to barge in like this," then barks, "Fine, if you won't tell me your master's name first, what's the point?" Edgar flashes the most troll-tastic smug grin you've ever laid eyes on. He dodges the question and whips out an ornate dagger instead. "My apologies for the drama." The instant the Viscount and his cronies lay eyes on it, their mouths drop open in shock. And stamped right onto the blade's hilt is a huge, unmistakable crest. "Oya, so you get it, even without my name being out there," Edgar says, savoring the moment. The Viscount turns ghost pale, sputters, "Don't be ridiculous, what are you really plotting?" He turns to Edgar and tries to scare him, warning that plotting against the noble crest is punishable by death. But Edgar flexes even harder. "Go on, officials of the Imperial Court. I've been handed the freedom to do what I think is right in this trial, in my master's name." The lackey's jaw drops, and he can't even find the words. Edgar drops the bombshell. He's demanding a retrial for the clause. Then he blurts the bombshell, his master, drowning in debt to a kid named Len Ashton. He'll push through and finish it all the way to the end. We catch a first look at this mysterious master, just a shadow, but packed with terrifying power. Then we see him bark orders to his subordinate to step in and lend a hand. The Viscount and his boy have totally lost control. Everything's falling apart right up to the very end. The Viscount can't even process it. Why now? Why is HE making a move out of nowhere for something like this? He realizes he just picked a fight with one of the Empire's titans. Edgar just smirks, calm as ever, and says, "Because of the miracle you helped bring about, my master can finally step in and lend a hand without a single worry." And there's one more thing. Lord Len Ashton didn't just stand there. He stepped in and saved a life. And then, for the ultimate, epic shutdown, Edgar whips around to face the fake hero. "Oh, by the way, earlier you said you got outmaneuvered, right?" The Viscount's face said everything. He just realized he didn't merely step on a landmine. He basically tap-danced across an entire field of them, and that's what true strength looks like. "All right, buckle up," Len finally stirs, but his mind is still rebooting, like it's taking forever to boot back to life. The last thing he remembers is pure chaos, endless screaming, and then a giant wolf barreling toward him. But then he snaps his eyes open and freezes. There's a girl sleeping peacefully just a few feet from him. Before he even has time to understand where he woke up, right inside a 5-star hotel room, he jerks upright, totally stunned and lost. And then bam, she jolts awake, like something yanked her out of a dream. And with not a single word, she launches straight into his arms, clinging like he's the only thing keeping her alive. Our main man is stuck in ice-cold shock, trying to figure out if he's still dreaming, while Lysia grips him so tight it feels like she's afraid he'll vanish. He finally squeezes out a question, "What's happening?" and she drops the bomb, "Dude, you've been out for over a month." Right then, a brand new guy barges in and tells our hero to take it easy. This is Albert, and he's about to unload the biggest info bomb you've ever seen. While Len was out there napping like it was the end of the world, Albert and Lysia were racing to clear his name. Because of them, they fought for a retrial, and our boy walked out proven 100% innocent. So what happened to that shady viscount who framed him? Yeah, he mysteriously offed himself with a sneaky hidden poison just as they were about to catch him. Len's eyes narrowed, sharp like a blade. Suicide, huh, that's what we're calling it now. Especially since, yeah, someone looked at his mansion and thought, let's torch the whole place, turning every room into a bonfire and leaving nothing but ashes. Totally normal, definitely no red flags. Albert lays it out. The true MVP of the trial wasn't who you expected. It was the great noble, the one who came through and saved them. So who was this mystery benefactor? Really, none other than the Chief Wolven. Turns out that Absolute Unit's internal organs get completely obliterated, and those scraps are basically the rarest potion ingredients on the entire planet. Getting them without a price tag, good luck, that's basically getting shredded to pieces. But then Len dropped a perfectly pristine monster corpse, clean as day. Albert struck a deal with a ruthless marquis, one who was clinging to that material like his life depended on it. And get this, the medicine kicked in, saving Marcus's daughter, who'd been sick for years. To show his gratitude, the marquis sent a personal invitation straight over, like he wanted them to feel it was meant for them. Len snatches one glance at that fancy envelope, and his mind just crashes, because that emblem, he's seen it before. His soul practically rips out of his body. This is the peak moment for Marquis Dignat. And that's how the whole story finally crashes into its last, unforgettable finale. He's the legendary hero they promised, until he snaps and starts plotting to tear down the entire empire. And that's when his villain arc ignited, the heartbreaking death of his beloved daughter. The very daughter our hopeless hero just barely saved by accident. Now the gears in his head start grinding, because he finally clocks what this could mean, and the whole story doesn't just change, he snaps it clean in half. A few weeks later, Len's healing goes so well he's bouncing back fast. And then boom, his parents show up too, hearing he's safe and racing over to him right away. Their mansion is in ashes, sure, but they still pulled off a miracle. They saved what mattered most and everyone's alive. It's a sweet reunion to the core. His dad mugs him and teases him, acting like the kid grew up overnight. Our boy shrugs it off like it's nothing, trying to play it cool while he's feeling it. Later, he's replaying the fight in his head, the moment that magic bracelet snapped into a sword, and when he touched Lysia, it asterisk reacted, so why did it happen? He and Lysia kick back together on the balcony, just vibing and soaking it all in. And he can't move, he just stares at her, stunned. She calls him out for it, right to his face, and he shrugs it off like it's nothing. With a crooked grin, he sets his sights on the Saintess, then casually drops the bait. Hey, quick question, do you've got a magic stone tucked inside your body? Lysia totally loses it. She blurts out a shaky, stammering question, stunned that he could possibly know that. Our main guy instantly backpedals like, whoa, no, I was just messing around. But the damage is already done. She can feel it in her bones that he knows. Lysia forces him to swear it to secrecy, then tells him only the temple's top brass even knows the saints wield magic stones. This fresh bombshell kicks Len's mind into a sprint all over again, the magic sword, the legend of the 7 heroes screaming to be found. If this sword is really that powerful, maybe he really can rewrite his fate, because now, for the first time, a real path opens up in his mind, one that isn't only about surviving. Meanwhile, Lysia spirals into a full-blown existential meltdown. She'd been dodging Len like a storm she couldn't outrun, convinced his grim future was already carved in stone. Until then, everything slipped out of her hands. But when he crushed the Chief Wolven, he didn't just rescue himself, he flipped ATR's fate for good. Her father, along with Yurko, the ones they swore were dead, are suddenly alive. And now the final boss's family is caught in a sudden twist of fate. She realizes every choice he makes sends ripples through this world, one she can't possibly see coming. She cups his face and brushes him back into reality, instantly ripping him out of his own head. What am I thinking? He blurts to himself. Lysia leans in close, eyes locked on him, and declares with all her heart, Ren is my hero and no one else. She even grins and goes, you're such a sneaky one, saying sweet things after you beat me into a pulp on our very first day. Our boy's left speechless, his face flushing so hard it's like he just turned betrayed in an instant. A million miles away from the romance that's just starting to bloom. We snap to a roaring city packed with noise, lights, and non-stop movement. Right in the Imperial Military Academy, principal's office. Inside, a woman sits there with a newspaper in her hands, because the whole place is buzzing about a holy saint miracle and that massive beam of light that lit up the entire continent. This is Principal Clenoa Highland, and she looks absolutely dead bored, like her soul already clocked out. With a heavy sigh, she can only hope, somewhere out there, someone will finally rip her boredom out of her life. She has no clue her wish is about to explode into reality in the wildest, most chaotic way imaginable. All right, buckle up, we're diving straight back into the chaos. The imperial capital is in total shambles after a string of incidents. A royal guard snapped and killed the third, and then a noble died under seriously shady circumstances. The public is flipping out like it's the end of the world. Some yell invasion, while others swear it's the wrath of a god. Nope, this truth hits way harder, and it's way messier. Turns out the mastermind behind all this unhinged vengeance was the noble family's own head, Marquis Zignat. So what shoved this guy into a one-man rampage? Classic villain origin, my friends. His daughter was on death's doorstep, and the only cure was some super-rare medicine brewed from the organs of a Wolven. But when he begged the emperor for help, the imperial family basically shrugged and told him, "Sorry, those are our emergency organs, no way." And that's how Marcus's daughter ended up passing away. And just like that, the emperor's perfectly logical call sparked a monster, driven straight by pure burning resentment. Cut straight to the emperor himself, trying to relax with a warm cup of tea in the garden, until his butler leans in and asks what he really thought of Len Ashton. The butler is hyping him up like crazy, claiming Len's worth is priceless, like no amount of gold could ever replace him, and the emperor doesn't even argue. The emperor takes a sip, then declares with a grin that it's a damn good story. And yeah, he even admits that ever since everything blew over, the rage in his chest finally started to cool down. His butler opens his mouth, clearly terrified of what's coming, but the emperor slams him down mid-sentence. He knows exactly why he denied the Marquis those ingredients. It wasn't cruelty, it was protection to keep his own family safe. He totally gets the logic, but he makes it brutally clear that understanding it and truly accepting it are two completely different beasts. Out of nowhere, a voice screams, "Father." A young woman barrels into the garden, and right on her heels another girl sprints after her, yelling for a man named Edgar. You return and she blurts, "You're back." The butler reached out with a helping hand, but she shot back, "Nope, I'm getting stronger on my own." He then leans in and gently scolds her like, "My lady, please don't talk so casually to us peasants. And yeah, totally tone-deaf, my dude." The dark-haired girl blurts out that she wants to see Len Ashton in person and thank him herself, and Edgar nods along, only to say Baron Clossel told them to hold off. She doesn't take no for an answer. She presses him again and then goes, "So, how about a letter?" But Edgar won't budge. He tells her to stay calm, trust him, and respect the Baron's wishes for now. She reluctantly nods along, but the disappointment practically screams from her face. But don't count her out yet. She tilts her face to the sky and whispers a solemn vow. "Someday I'll absolutely meet you and thank you." You can just asterisk feel it. Her feelings are gonna slam straight into our main man, no matter what. All right, listen up. Len's locked in his room, not sleeping a wink, just fixated on the Seratia's blue pearl, that brand new shiny toy calling his name. And now this isn't just some shiny rock, it's an egg, a ridiculously indestructible one, because not even a sword can scratch it, and right now it's chugging his magic like a smoothie. Based on his old gamer memories, he swears this thing is meant to hatch a monster with ice and darkness powers that nearly wiped the Demon King out, yet nobody in the game ever managed to hatch it, so it just became a ridiculously expensive paperweight. Right before this guy can even hatch a plan, bam, there's a knock on the door. And just like that, the White Saint herself, Lysia Clausel, showed up right in front of them. She spots the glowing orb of doom the second it appears. Our main man keeps his cool, swearing it's no big deal and that some chief Wolven probably dropped it. Yeah, sure, that's the story. Lysia, unexpectedly sharp, points out that if a beast that strong is already snoozing inside, and that egg can't be destroyed, then staying with him is probably the safest bet. Sensing his chance, Len blurts that he's feeling better and ready to hit the road, and Lee shoots back right away. How long does he plan to stay? Our hopeless hero blurts out a number, then challenges the room. Would meeting 1,000 times really be enough? Without missing a beat, Lysia's eyes spark like lightning. "Easy," she says, and suddenly he's locked into a 3-year subscription to their friendship, no hesitation. He crunches the numbers and realizes those daily meetups add up to almost 3 years, and with her dad already offering him the room, there's zero escape. Lysia panics and stammers, trying to brush it off like it didn't just hit her. Before she yanks out the ultimate weapon, she bats those puppy dog eyes and zips right in, staying just a little longer. And just like that, our boy gets folded in an instant, like a cheap suit, no fight left in him. And just like that, our unsuspecting hero kicks off his day, living the dream while training hard alongside Lysia. Shopping for snazzy new clothes, fully paid for with her dad's money. Time and just soaking up the high life like it's theirs for the taking. But right when the good times are rolling, disaster crashes the party. news hits that the Imperial Knights are coming to town. Head butler Wise leans in and announces that a legendary knight just arrived to test Lysia's holy sword skills. Then he tells Len, "Come watch this." Apparently, this is the go-to move for anyone who didn't get born with combat talent. You just pour in some magic power, and boom, instant combat skills snap into place like magic. And yeah, it's basically a cheat code for anyone who didn't start out with talent. Len knows his gamer brain can't just copy-paste moves like it's nothing. Weiss admits he never stood a chance at it either. He even offers to train Len in the Imperial style. Plus, here's the fun bit. In the game, Lysia is a master of the Holy Sword technique, a full-on sword saint, basically one rank away from the legendary Sword King. In all of existence, there are just 5 Sword Kings, titles reserved for the ones who have mastered absolutely everything. Then Wise drops the one style that's gonna drag our boys straight into traumatic flashbacks, GOKENGJI. A brutal enemy-only special move from the game that players couldn't learn no matter how hard they tried. The second you deal with these users, they're already unhinged, and every fight with them permanently wrecks your stats. Even the memories alone make his soul scream to get out of his body. They rush to the training grounds and spot Lysia waiting there, plus some brand new, striking pretty boy knight. Lysia clocks Len in the crowd and practically beams, grabbing his attention as she invites him into the fun. Len tries to politely shut him down, but the new commander already knows how promising Len is. Now the pressure is official, and it's blasting right in his face. Before our hero can even protest, the commander steps in and dares him to a little sparring match. He whips Lena's sword across the air. The moment of truth is here, and the fight is on. Steel blades collided in a wild blur, sparks flying every time they met. This absolute unit is straight up, holding his ground against the commander, parrying and dodging every hit like a legit pro. But the commander snaps, calling him out and ordering him to quit copying the holy sword style and finally fight for real. Message received, Len drops his old posture and snaps into a brand new stance. And then they absolutely explode the scene with a wild, chaotic storm of attacks that swallows the entire panel. The commander's jaw drops in shock, and he's shoved straight into a full defensive scramble. He gets rocked backward by the impact, leaving every single person completely stunned. Lenz digs in and holds his ground, perfectly balanced like he's ready for anything. The commander can't even process it. He tried to punch through Len's defense and got shut down hard, with nothing to show for it. After Len finally introduces himself the right way, the commander slams down his verdict. This holy sword technique isn't for him, not in a million years. Lysia is stunned. She blurts out that Len is obviously insanely strong. The commander nods in agreement, then snaps back that the real issue is whether it's the right fit. He tells Len that his fighting style is way too savage, too wild and aggressive, because if he leans on his instincts, they'll slam the brakes on learning the real techniques. And yeah, he straight up says it's better if Len never learns it at all. Then bam, he makes a massive power move and offers to teach Len the basics, like the nerve, the disrespect. Later, Wise lunges at the commander. When the truth finally spills out, the commander admits he clocked Len's style the moment he saw it. This isn't just swordplay, it's a deadlier style, and he's desperately trying to keep Len from getting dragged into it, while back in the room Lysia is clearly furious. When she's grumpy, she starts twirling her hair absent-mindedly, right as Len snaps and calls her out for it. She's fuming because the commander's words made it sound like Len had zero talent at all. Our main guy just reassures her, telling her not to worry about a thing. Lysia then blurts out that the commander warned her. Ashtet's fighting style comes with the same nasty bad habit. Since she'd been hunting for an opening by studying Len's moves, she finally started copying him, move for move. He told her straight to the point, this wasn't over yet, it could still be fixed. But it feels like everything she's ever lived for is getting crushed, and she refuses to let that be true. Len leans in to calm her down, promising they'll track down a different style that fits her way better. He leans in dead certain and tells her, one day she'll master her technique. He asked her how it would feel if someone shoved her to abandon everything her father drilled into her. He shrugs and goes, same thing, no difference. This hits home for Lysia. She tells you her father wanted her to break free, carve out her own path, and grow into the kind of person her late mother would have been screaming proud of. But trying to undo her deep-rooted habits feels brutally hard, and like it's time being thrown away. In that exact moment, Len snaps into a breakthrough. He realizes Lysia isn't just some game character anymore. She's a real person now, chasing her own dreams and fighting her own battles. Then this guy makes a fresh vow. He swears he'll track down the perfect school of swordsmanship just for her. Because this isn't about beating a game anymore. This is about our future, that's what he's saying. All right, buckle up. We kick things off with a cryptic emblem, like it's whispering about a missing piece of history, and a whole story starts to crawl out under the cold gaze of a shadowy network. Beneath a giant, blazing full moon, an eerie glow washes over a fancy mansion like the night itself is watching. But deep down, Fiona is grinding through the fear, wobbling forward on shaky legs as she fights to walk on her own. Her legs finally collapse, and she stumbles straight toward the ground until her maid panics and catches her just in time. Even after she's hit the floor, she refuses to quit. She squeezes out an apology, forces herself back up, and admits she's lagging behind everyone else, so she's got to grind even harder. This is Fiona reborn. She's finally up, but you can tell she spent way too long trapped in bed. She grabs her maid's arm, pleading, "Let me keep going. I'll stop the moment it starts hurting me." So what drives her? She wants to finally stand on her own and thank the person who made all of this possible. She relives those endless days where pain crushed her again and again, an endless living nightmare she swore would never stop. Of course it was Len, our absolute unit, who sparked her inspiration and finally set her free. Meanwhile, her father watches the whole fiasco from a window up above, wearing that smug, slightly unsettling gargoyle grin. He walks in to meet them and hypes his daughter like she just aced the whole mission. Fiona's just thrilled she can walk again, and the praise hits her so hard it almost feels embarrassing. But then Dad bursts in with gifts, yanks out a letter, and tells her it's from the Imperial Military Academy. Her face falls hard. This is it, the results from that preliminary exam she took last month. Her breath catches as her soul nearly slips out while she nervously scans the page. And she pushed past it. Instant relief hit her like a tidal wave. Her father decides it's time to troll. He whips around to the maid and asks, "You thought she'd pass, right?" The maid, fiercely loyal, snaps back that Fiona was studying like a maniac, even while her health was in full meltdown. Dad just smirks and shrugs like, "That's the deal. It's only the prelims anyway. I've got my eyes locked on the final exam." Pure brutality hits Fiona so hard she can't even process it. Jez. He snatches her hand and tells her to push harder, because if she gets hurt, thanking Len Ashton is pointless. All she can do is blush hard and grumble under her breath. Now that we've got our main man in view, the story whips straight into the sprawling capital city. Baron Closso leans in for a quick chat with Len, asking straight up what he plans to do next. He pitches Len a spot to stay in his household for the night. Turns out it's a pretty sweet deal. The Baron can read the storm brewing in his head, so he lines in and dares him to spit it out. Len finally cracks and admits his worst fear. What if the unhinged Viscount comes back for round 2? And no way is he ready to return to a village that could get targeted because of him. The Baron gives a grim nod. Turns out he already knows about that wild Viscount obsession with Len. Turns out Fiona's dad, Roy, had already marched up to him with the same fear, because he knew a noble could zero in on Len way too easily. The Baron's advice was simple: stay quiet at the Clausel Mansion and wait out the village reconstruction. There's no reason to rush. Our hopeless hero sinks lower and lower, convinced that a commoner's son can't possibly fix everything with brute force alone. But the Baron slams it down on the spot, no hesitation. "It's not impossible," he snaps, jabbing a finger. "You just have to become the kind of person even nobles won't dare cross." He lays out the power scale, and to beat a high noble, you don't just rise in rank, you basically have to marry your way into the imperial family. Or rise into something even more legendary, the Sword King. Len's eyes snap wide, shock ripping straight through him. He's got that title figured out. The Baron leans in and declares that 5 of these absolute monsters roam the world, 5 of the deadliest swordsmen ever to exist. These guys are so unstoppable, they don't even bother living by any country's rules. They're basically walking natural disasters, the kind of final bosses that even max-level heroes can only beat with absurd amounts of luck. For now, the Baron steps in and promises he'll cover every last Len's living expense. But our boy won't take handouts. Pride burns in him, and he refuses to sit still until he finds work with his own hands. He leans in and asks if there's any job out there that matches what he used to do. You know, just a little light monster subjugation, nothing major, right? The Baron nods and confirms, right on the nose, everything he'd been thinking. He's stuck on Monster Watch in town, sniffing out trouble, calling them in when things go bad, and filing the reports before the chaos settles. And on top of that, he can snatch up extra jobs at the Adventurers Guild anytime he wants. And just like that, our boy sprints straight for the guild. He kicks the doors wide open and storms into a loud, rowdy tavern packed with battle-worn warriors and dodgy-looking elves. The moment he steps in, the entire room snaps to silence, and every head whips around to stare at the fresh face walking in like he owns the place. It doesn't hesitate for a second. This absolute unit strides straight up to the counter and demands to be registered. The receptionist eye-rolls him at first, but she starts the process anyway. Then she's left speechless when he fills out every form perfectly and even has the registration fee already sitting there, ready to go. "Is this really your first time?" she asks, totally stunned by how insanely good he is. He finally snatches a brand new G-rank card, straight from the bottom of the barrel. With a grin full of confidence, he tells her he already knows every rule, because yeah, he read a book. Can you believe it? Then he storms over to the quest board, eyes scanning the local jobs like a hunter on the prowl. It's mostly E and F rank trash out here. Real monsters don't show up often in this territory. But then he spots a D rank quest and everything clicks. Suddenly 2 figures creep up from behind. So tell me, is Dono the hero worried about what's coming? It's the cat-eared swordsman, plus his buddy from back then. They praised him to the sky for wiping the foolish Viscount off the board. But then they hit you with a warning, so yeah, you should probably stop doing that. The Wolfman leans in and warns you. That D-rank steel-eating gargoyle looks harmless, but it hits like a truck, and its counterattack is brutal. Look, most things are pretty chill, but the special carnivorous ones, they're a whole different nightmare. Len weighs his options, because those materials are ridiculously valuable, maybe enough to score a brand new magic sword. He bursts into the forest, ready to kick off the grind. A quick status check snaps up the truth. His magic sword summoning skill just shot to level 3. The perks are wild. He can now summon Taifayabuyo magic swords all at once, and it's about to get insanely epic. He spots his very first victim. A rabid-looking F-rank rabbit shoots out from the bushes like it's about to explode. Without even blinking, our main man yanks his iron magic sword out for a full-throttle attack, and gripped that wooden magic sword for support. The wooden sword slashes, and a blazing burst of vines explodes out, snaring the rabbit in an instant, a flawless combo. The forest rings with the frantic squeaks of his countless victims. Yet another status screen flashes. His wooden magic sword's level is already fully maxed out. This dude snatches a fast sandwich break, then immediately starts plotting his next level-up strategy like a total gamer. Later, Len saunters back into town, fresh and fearless. He's hauling a ridiculously huge monster ball through the vines, and it's like the whole swarm is barely tangled and wrapped up. The 2 adventurers who warned him are totally dumbfounded, like, this is unreal, and the guild receptionist's jaw drops. Can you really buy it, like everything? He kicks open his haul and shows off 2 eerie rank earthworms too, right there, for everyone to see. The payout is out of control. An absurd mountain of gold coins is waiting for him. Our boy pulled in 600,000 G in one day. Like, that's roughly 60 times what a commoner makes in an hour. And what's the very first thing he does with all that newfound money? He storms straight into a luxury tailor shop. Even the shop owner clocks him instantly, because he remembers him from that visit he made with Lysia. 1 month later, Lysia's losing it as Len starts packing up his things. "You're moving. Where are you going?" He swoops in to calm her down, telling her, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm just moving into the old mansion on the estate." Now he's officially in Ashton, bound to her side as her servant, and ordered to run that old building like it's his life. Lysia is totally flustered, snapping that she never heard a word about any of this. Right then, a maid bursts in and drops off a delivery for Len from some super fancy store. He snatches the box and grips it tight. And there it is, this stunning, pure white dress, shining like it's straight out of a dream. Lysia's mind just flatlines, absolute total freeze. He yanks the dress out of the box. "F for me," she stammers like she can't even breathe. "Yeah," our hopeless hero murmurs with a soft smile, "and I swear I bought it the very day I finally earned my first paycheck." She's completely stunned, like her whole world just stopped. Reaching out, he barely touched that delicate fabric, too adorable to handle. With a dead serious face, this guy leans in and says, "If you don't get it, I'll grab another one." Bro, are you trying to drown her with kindness? Because the moment you do that, tears start flooding her eyes. She yanks the dress to her chest like it's her last breath, and she murmurs, "Trust me, I'm not giving it back." He just grins like none of it matters, completely clueless about the emotional wreckage he caused, and he wonders, really wonders, if she actually liked it. And Lysia is blushing, teary-eyed, totally falling apart. "Is that what you call fair?" She snaps. "You really thought a single gift would erase what you did?" She blurts out that it's all happening way too fast. She hasn't even had a second to brace her heart for this insanely wholesome moment. It's too overwhelming for her to keep up with. All right, let's kick this off. He's down for the count, face tilted to the sky, just staring at the stars like they're the only thing that matters. But this isn't some peaceful sleep. He's trapped in a nightmare, stuck reliving an ancient legend like it's happening all over again. The dream zeroes in on Chronoland, the world's officially crowned greatest wizard. She met a seriously brutal end, because it turns out Len Ashton was the one who killed her. Yeah, or Len Ashton, and this isn't some random lore tidbit. The dream flat out tells you Chrono was the headmaster of the Imperial Military Academy, a total powerhouse on the same level as the legendary Sword Kings. So yeah, how'd some dude named Len beat her? Pure mystery. Then Jolt's our main guy snapped awake, absolutely losing it. And that horrible dream, nah, that's the understatement of the century, my guy. Realizing he's the main character, right in the middle of a possible tragedy, he makes a killer executive move, ditch the Imperial capital and that creepy academy at all costs. After a hit of coffee to fend off the creeping doom, this absolute unit barrels into town. The locals light up with smiles, chanting Mr. Hero like he's royalty, and yeah, he's absolutely the town's golden boy. He heads straight for the Adventurers Guild, the legendary hotbed where quests erupt and trouble never sleeps. Our heroes aren't hunting glory, they're just begging for a simple gig on that request board. His stomach betrays him with a massive, earth-shaking growl. Suddenly, a voice slices through all the tavern noise, so adorable it almost makes your heart stop. It's a shady hooded stranger, totally eavesdropping, and before he can even react, they snatch the moment and invite him over for breakfast. Honestly, I don't care who you are. If some mysterious stranger shows up offering free food, that's Red Flag City with a blinking neon sign. A boy forces on a polite smile and blurts that he's got cash. The figure points out the empty seat count, take a table together, or just stand there looking lost, and he goes along with it, clocking right away that she doesn't look like she belongs here. They dove into a hearty meal, and our guy slides in, tries to break the ice with small talk, and straight up praises her like she's a total regular. She just cackles and claims his voice is the mature one, then he instantly clocks something off, because her voice sounds magically altered. She confessed she'd walked up to him on a total whim, because the poor guy's stomach was making the most humiliating, pathetic sounds imaginable. Then she flips the script on him and fires back, demanding to know what he really thinks of her. Her follow-up, she's thinking about how to kidnap you. The absolute nerve, our poor, hopeless hero's soul ripped out of his body for one wild second. He lets out a shaky laugh to brush it off, but she's dead serious. She's just joking, probably. Then she throws down the real offer. Come with me to the Imperial capital. The one place he swore he'd never step foot again. He slams the door on that so hard it probably whips her head around. Nope, not happening. As the plate filled and the moment finally paid off, she says she has to go, and they can't stop wishing they could meet again. But as she strides off, she lands the last crushing hit, and then she whispers, "Next time I'll show you the strange power you've got." He's completely stunned, like his brain can't even catch up. He bolts after her without even hesitating. His mind spun at a mile a minute. How in the world does she know about his secret demon sword summoning ability? He whips his gaze across the crowded street, but she's gone, vanished like a ninja into thin air. Before he can even process this total mess, familiar faces crash the moment. Two senior adventurers show up and drag him into a hunt in the eastern forest, promising him real work while they quietly shove him in charge of the newbie crew. It's not some official escort mission, just a friendly offer with good vibes. But since this guy already landed a job from the local baron, he's got no choice, he has to pass. They call it goodbye, but nobody realizes the breakfast interview he just fought through, pure chaos, and he walked out alive. Left alone, he spirals into non-stop thoughts about that mysterious woman. But work is work, so he storms back onto his quest, hunting down a monstrous, toothy landshark beast. He tears through it, slashing the beast clean in half like it's nothing. Now that the monster's locked up tight, he's already tallying the money he's about to rake in. He's already plotting to use that money to snag some top-tier magic tools and spoil his family for once. What a stand-up legend, right in the middle of all this chaos, he's still thinking about his family. But the quiet peace gets ripped apart by a roaring sound far in the distance. The whole ground starts trembling, cracks open, and splits like some cheap movie set trying to fall apart. Oh no, this is bad, like, unbelievably bad. Then the scene snaps back to those same senior adventurers, and you can tell things are going badly fast. They're up against a winged, armored demon, and it's basically laughing off every single hit they land. The rookies are already crumpled on the floor, totally wiped out, down for the count. This is on a whole other level. He smacks that one guy so brutally that his shield almost shatters. Then he instantly rips into the other one and claws him hard enough to send him crashing through the air. They're getting completely obliterated. Just as it really looked hopeless, our hero bursts onto the scene. He heard it right away, and his blood ran cold. A steel goblin gargoyle was roaring. A monster with zero right to be this close to town, yet it's right here. Seeing his friends get pummeled, this absolute unit doesn't even blink. He barks at the rookies to grab and run while he stays behind to stall the whole fight. The adventure finally pulls back, and everyone lets out a grateful breath. Our boy rockets forward, slamming the gap in a blink, and collided hard with the gargoyle's head, smashing into it. His blade only just manages to scrape against that ridiculously tough hide. Time to go plan B. He yanks demonic vines out of his blade, and they whip around the beast, squeezing down with bone-crushing power. The monster lets out a blood-curdling shriek of pure pain, setting him up with the perfect opening to slam in a clean, solid strike. He points out that even though it's only a D-rank monster, it's basically a feather compared to the monsters he's already fought. He keeps hammering forward, nothing but a blur of motion and steel. But right when hope flickered, the gargoyle dangled on the ropes. A dark shadow swallows him whole, then a sickened gargoyle rockets out of the sky and dive bombs straight for his face. Our hero gets totally blindsided, no warning, no time to react. And as the adventurers start backing away, they can only stare in terror, fully frozen by what they're seeing. But now he's not dealing with one. He's got two of these unhinged metal monsters barreling toward him at the same time. The real fight just kicked off, and our main man is now in real, deep trouble. Alright, let's jump straight in. Our boy is staring wide-eyed at the absolute units of armored gargoyles, and trust me, things are getting spicy fast. Heard there'd be just one of these bad boys, but nope, the universe just slapped a BOGO sale on monsters today. This unsuspecting hero is trapped in a full-on nightmare, ducking and weaving as two rampaging beasts try to turn him into a chew toy. He barely twists out of the way of that claw, one wrong move, and it would have gutted him without mercy. Realizing running isn't an option, he snaps into gear, because if he doesn't stop these unhinged monsters, they'll barrel straight into the civilians. Without even blinking, he hurls a roaring blast of vines and fully cages one of the gargoyles, one down for now. The other one, obviously not thrilled that his buddy got turned into a chia pet, swings wildly. But our main man is way too quick. He launches into the air, mumbles a fast sorry, then slams his blade back down. Seriously, are we going all the way down? With one epic swing, he sliced the gargoyle clean in half. The monster's armor explodes into shards, shattering like cheap glass. It screams one final time before the server wipes it for good, but in a blink, the impact smashes his sword to pieces, sending it exploding into a blinding shower of light. Right when you think he's got nothing left to fight with, a brand new gleaming demon sword suddenly snaps into his hand, level 1, straight off the shelf. The other gargoyle finally tore through its vine prison, and now pure fury is blazing through it. It unleashes a furious roar that rips through the air, and barrels forward like a freight train, no brakes in sight, crashing its massive claw down. But he doesn't even so much as flinch. He just lifts his brand new toy, and a giant spherical shield explodes into place around him, shutting down the attack like it's nothing. Like this sword ain't just some weapon, it's on another level. And bam, Demon Sword of Shields is here. The monster stares in shock as its attack slams into a magical bubble and gets totally shut down. Our hero locks eyes and sends a stone-cold glare straight back. And then he unleashes a power so insane, it tears a permanent chasm straight into the freaking landscape. The rest of the party watches from a safe distance, and they're utterly stunned, jaw-dropped to the floor. The wolfier guy can barely wrap his head around what just happened. And when the chaos finally clears, the battlefield is nothing but pure, total devastation. There he stands cool as ice, gripping his sword, while the wreckage of two high-level monsters smolders all around him. The party leader's like, "Mr. Hero, yeah, you know what? He totally did that, dude." Everyone's just huffing and puffing, stunned out of their minds. The city guards finally roll in, fashionably late like they always do, and the whole place is stunned. Look, these steel-eating goylels are coming in force, and there are exactly two of them. One of them whips around and grills our main man. "Did you take all of them down by yourself?" Our hero, always the humble type, tries to tell everyone, "I didn't take down the first one solo, but the wolf bro storms in, snaps, "Shut up," and grabs the credit, already telling the guild to confirm it. Len gets the entire massive reward. It's Speaking of rewards, our boy mentally taps his stats like, let's see what I earned. He didn't just get experience points from those gargoyles, he raked in a whole boatload of them. But that brand new demon sword of shields leveled up too. He clenches his fist, and victory burns in his veins. I wonder if I've gotten stronger, he thinks as he stares at the new valley you just carved. Yeah, I'm saying it, you're doing great. Suddenly, a voice he recognizes screams his name, Lysia. She stares at him in pure horror, jabs a finger straight at his face, and demands, where did you get those wounds? Our poor hopeless hero gets totally blindsided. She barrels over to check him immediately, relieved to see the cuts aren't deep enough to be deadly. He's just standing there, silent as stone, looking completely lost. He braced for her to snap at him for fighting, but she just beams at him, praising what he did as amazing, and telling him to be proud of his courage for saving so many people. He tries to shrug it off and insists he acted on his own free will, but she finally admits she was freaking out the whole time. She had no room to be angry. She was absolutely, painfully terrified for him. Our boy's heart just slammed into overdrive, doing backflips like it can't handle the moment. She pulls him in and invites him to dinner at the main residence because she wants to thank him in person. He asks her straight up if there's anything he can do to make it right for all the worry he caused her. She tells him don't stress, then bam, she slips in the real proposal. I'm about to hit up a couple villages. Are you coming with me, or what? With zero hesitation, our main guy grins, lines in, and says, understood. All right, strap in, let's dive back into the chaos. We kick things off at a grand estate where powerful political moves are being plotted like a war game, and a knight bursts in from the field with a fresh report. But the real chaos is inside. Weiss is getting the full intel like a puppet master, and trust me, this winter's about to hit insanely cold levels. But Weiss isn't fretting over the weather. He's got way worse monsters on his mind. He casually asks about that whole steel-eating gargoyle mess. The commander tells everyone that the Adventurers Guild swears those beasts were nothing but skin and bones, raving with hunger. That old man pieces it all together and realizes it. Certain minerals, the gargoyle's main food source, have suddenly tanked in price, meaning someone has been messing with the whole monster ecosystem for a troll. Weiss just exhales a tired sigh. He knows exactly who's yanking the strings, but nailing proof is a whole new mess, and you can practically feel that sharp tactical frustration pouring off him. Meanwhile, in a totally different conversation, we finally get a glimpse of Len, because the truth is brutal. He's shockingly awful with the holy sword technique. But wait, don't step out yet. People think this absolute unit might have the strong sword technique in him, and honestly, that name sounds way cooler than anything else. Just a few days later, our unsuspecting heroes ride out there on an expedition with Lysia, bouncing through the local villages like they own the map. Everything's going awesome, until his horse suddenly lurches in and smacks a giant, slobbery kiss straight onto his face. A knight lets out a satisfied chuckle, watching as the horse finally accepts Len and bows to him as its master. Elijah insists the horse has been a total sweetheart since the very start. Len, the softest kind soul alive, just thinks it must have had a rough life before. And just like that, the knight hits us with a jaw-dropper. This horse isn't ordinary at all. It's basically baby, packed with monster blood, and it's only going to grow into something terrifyingly bigger. Lysia can barely contain herself. She's over the moon because her and Len's new pet isn't just here for a little while. It's going to stay with them for the long haul. She scoots in close and tells him, pick a killer name for our battle steed, make it count. Then she flashes a grin like there's zero pressure. Right then, a maid snatched our boy aside, grinning like she couldn't wait to tell him he'd be staying in town. Then she drops the ultimate social gauntlet. Lysia's birthday party is coming up. You can practically watch the gears in his mind click as he realizes next month is already here. Before anyone can even blink, he's already cooking up the perfect gift in his head, absolute legend. The crew rolls into the village, and the locals greet them like they've been waiting all along. Len wastes no time. He starts hauling crates right away like this is no big deal. That night, Lysia grabs the map and points straight to where they're headed next. Len whips around and realizes, right beside them, looming over everything, are the infamous Baldur Mountains. He mutters that it'll be fine as long as that shady marquis doesn't cause trouble. Bro, you just cursed it. So cue up the epic lore dump. Turns out Marquis Ignart once used these very mountains to wipe out the 7 heroes. No choice, he had to take that demon stone. From a legendary red dragon, Isval. This ancient beast was basically a god-tier lizard, so advanced it could understand humans like they were speaking its native tongue. And he was always hunting for the next good scrap. But the Demon King's power snapped it into pure chaos, and the heroes had to risk everything to take it down. Its body warped and melted into a roaring volcano, which eventually calmed down, cooling into the Baldur Mountains we see today. Deep down, one truth stayed locked in place, Esval's demon stone. And yeah, Marquis Ignart, the ultimate schemer, snatched it up fast, drained its leftover power, and forged an army of superpowered monsters. We catch a flash of his raw, unfiltered rage as he rips into the world, screaming that it wronged him. Total villain monologue, Sana 1. Back in the present, Iro can't shrug off that sinking dread as he locks eyes on the cursed peaks. Right as they roll into the next village, a local rushes up with a serious problem. He points out that the river's being choked by fallen trees upstream, so their water supply gets cut off for good. The villagers strain to move them, but those logs were brutally too heavy to budge. Before the knights can even raise a hand, our hopeless hero bursts forward like he's daring the world to stop him. "You want me to handle it, huh?" He shrugs it off and tells them the knights have their hands full, so he'll take this little job off their plate himself. The villagers' jaw drops. This kid is trying to haul those massive trees on his own. The commander just smirks, slaps Len on the back, and practically growls, "Don't sweat it, this is Len Ashton. He's built different." Suddenly, it all clicks for the whole village. This isn't just some random kid. He's the hero they've been whispering about, and the place erupts into fangirl chaos, while our main guy turns bright red with embarrassment, which makes Lies absolutely crack up. Alright, let's jump into this. Ren and Lady Lysia finally catch a breath, kicking back together under the sky like the whole world just stepped away. It's a warm, peaceful moment, right before everything explodes into chaos. A few days later, a giant convoy rumbles back toward the capital like it's marching for war. The expedition is officially over, done, finished, and wrapped up like a nightmare finally ending. So yeah, time to gear up, because Lady Lysia's birthday party is the biggest event of the season. Workers are hurling crate after crate of supplies off the trucks, stacking mountains of them like they're fueling a war. And everyone's pitching in, yeah, Asterisk, our main guy, is basically doing the job of 10. While the others wrestle with boxes, Absolute Unit casually lifts a barrel the size of a small car like it's nothing. The maids just gawk with their mouths hanging open as he hauls it up like it's stuffed with packing peanuts. What an absurd flex. Suddenly, Lysia herself bursts onto the scene and wildly rips through the supplies, digging like her life depends on it. She spots the tiny case she's been hunting for, but her victory barely sparks before she whips around, and there's Ren staring straight at her. Her soul yanks out of her body the second it happens. She stumbles through some wild excuse about needing to take care of something, then she bolts like she's running from the truth, not suspicious at all. This tiny encounter detonates a gut-punch realization for our hopeless hero. He totally blanked on getting her a birthday present. Panic hits hard, and he starts roaming the city streets like a man on a timer, desperately scrambling for a plan before it's too late. He even thinks about taking the ring, then instantly shuts it down like, "Nah, way too intense, way too soon. Honestly, solid call, my dude," read the room. Just then he spots a white hawk gliding across the sky, and bam, the answer hits him like a light bulb exploding in his head. He's set to bring her a platinum feather, an insanely rare treasure that glitters like pure silver, ripped straight from a white hawk monster. But here's the one tiny problem. This legendary stuff doesn't let you just stroll into a shop and buy it. Right in the middle of his stress, a familiar voice cuts through, Weiss, the cat-eared hero, asking what's got him so worked up. Ren rips into an epic, last-second scramble to find the perfect gift, and they slam into their seats and start plotting their next move. Weiss straight up says this whole thing is wildly insane to even hunt down on such short notice. He tells you the platinum feather is magical until you smash a white hawk, and boom, the magic evaporates, leaving it as nothing more than some dull, ordinary feather. If you want the real deal, you've got to wait for the stuff to fall off on its own and then collect it, because the birds don't regrow it fast. It takes years, and the drop rate is painfully low. Weiss pitches a trading company, but with his birthday less than a month away, there's no way that plan's gonna fly. But this guy won't quit, so instead of waiting around, he grabs his courage and goes hunting for the hawks himself. Weiss is stunned by his resolve, and then he goes full bro, dropping a huge intel bomb because he knows exactly where that flock is slipping through. Our boys' faces light up like fireworks, mission as a go. Ren races back to the mansion later that day and spots Lysia on the grand staircase, utterly drained like every ounce of strength just vanished. When he asks what's wrong, she panics and blurts that she used too much holy magic, aka the fancy way of telling him to mind his own business. She dodges his questions on the fly, and Ren is left completely stunned and lost. The very next day, boom, hunting time is on. Ren dives deep into the forest, gripping Weiss's map like a lifeline and chasing every lead. He spots the perfect ambush spot, then sinks a climbing spike into a colossal tree. And he scales up to stake his claim on a perch. To finish his super stealth setup, he drenches himself in smell-erasing perfume. This man is absolutely not playing around. He clings to Weiss's last instructions, because the hawk's absolute favorite snack is those red berries from that one exact tree. Sure, any sane adventurer would grind for days, praying one feather finally drops, but our guy skips the waiting entirely. He's going to yank their consciousness while their magic is still steady, forcing them to drop their feathers. Yep, a perfectly normal kind of insane power. Why grind like a sucker when you can hack the whole system instead? Right on cue, the sky erupts with a gigantic wave of white hawks. They drop from the sky with a deafening screech, a living white-winged storm charging straight toward them. Ren hides in the shadows, eyes blazing on the prize like it's calling his name. The birds crash into the berry tree in a wild frenzy, right the way the prophecy promised. Even with hundreds of them out there, landing on a naturally fallen feather is basically a fairy tale. It's slim to none. Ren knows there's zero margin for mistake, one slip, and everything falls apart. He sits there stone calm, watching the birds dive in and start gorging on the berries. If it fails, then he's got one desperate plan left, handing her a pretty, shiny rock like it's the answer to everything. The hawks are totally clueless, happily tearing into their meal like nothing's wrong. Ren's eyes pinch shut in pure focus, locking onto his absurdly powerful energy. He sweeps the flock with sharp eyes, hunting for his targets. He refuses to move until the perfect moment finally lights the fuse. Then he snaps, one of the hawks freezes mid-bite, and its eyes go dead blank. One heartbeat later, the sky erupts, platinum feathers, perfectly shimmering, come pouring down like a living storm. Mission completed like it took zero effort. This guy is pure menace. A few weeks later, it's party night, and our main man is looking ridiculously sharp in a tailored suit. He's clearly no stranger to the rough life, yet somehow he's wearing high society like it was born on him. He bursts into the dazzling ballroom, lights blazing and music roaring all around him. Lord Weiss beams at him and drops a compliment, calling it the true dignity of a hero's ruin. Suddenly, the giant doors at the top of the stairs slam open. The whole room goes dead silent. Ren swivels around, eyes blazing with pure curiosity. One sleek, elegant high-heeled shoe slides into view like a bold entrance. It's Lysia being escorted by her father, the Duke, like the crown is watching every step. The whole party goes dead silent as she strides down the stairs. The camera tilts upward, and oh my God, you've got to see this. But the crowd has no choice, just roar their applause. Her hair, her gown, everything about her is straight up flawless. She's sparkling. This isn't just some woman, it's a full-on Saintess, rolling in like royalty for her grand entrance. She marches right up to Ren with hope shining in her eyes and asks, "How do I look?" And our boy, totally smitten, answers, "It suits you perfectly." Honestly, he's dead on. All right, let's jump straight into this insane, must-watch party. The vibe is electric, champagne's pouring nonstop, and everyone's partying like crazy to celebrate the saint herself, Lysia. It's a full-blown high-class bash, champagne clinks, warm toasts, and good vibes everywhere. Len is hanging out with the head butler, grilling him for the real game plan on how they're gonna pull off gift-giving. He decides he's going first, get it over with, yeah, that's the plan. Then the butler just stares at him and drops this unbelievably smug grin and flat-out says no. So yeah, turns out our main man is getting buried in last place, right behind every servant. That kind of disrespect hits like a slap. Len can't make heads or tails of it, and honestly, who could? The old man cackles, smug as ever, saying he never imagined he'd see our boy act like a real, flustered young man, while our hero's stomach churns like it's doing backflips. First, the knights burst forward and present their gift. They hauled a full set of top-tier training gear for Lysia straight in from the capital, an absolute beast of a gift, and she's buzzing with pure excitement. All right, it's finally time for our unsuspecting hero to step up, and you can practically feel the anxiety crackling in the air. But hold up, plot twist. Lysia's father barges in and insists on delivering his gift first. First, she's all smiles, no doubt about it. The butler tosses out a half-baked apology for the screw-up, and our boy instantly clocks the act. This old dude is straight up trolling him. Down and out, he just shrugs and accepts it. He's going last, but deep inside, he decides it doesn't even matter anymore. He rips his fear away, and determination hardens on his face like steel. All right, Geo, time. He strides up and shouts, "Happy birthday," right to Lysia, and hands her a tiny, nothing special box that somehow feels like trouble. Lysia presses the gift to her chest like it's her lifeline, the most precious thing in the whole world. Her face goes betrayed, and she blurts that she'll be happy with anything, just as long as it comes from him. He keeps his cool, then leans in and tells her she should see it first. She swings the box open, and a gentle glow spills out like a secret being revealed. The whole ballroom freezes in silence, like it's holding its breath. Her eyes blew wide open. Inside, there's one single feather, so beautiful it feels unreal. Of a platinum feather, shining like pure luck and destiny. The crowd explodes with pure chaos. People are straight up losing their minds. The butler and Lysia's dad are left speechless. This thing is so rare you could hunt the entire world and still come up empty. Lysia's face is drenched in tears, pure, unstoppable joy flooding out of her. She leans in and whispers, "At this rate, I'm gonna die," straight up from pure happiness. Without breaking eye contact, he leans in and blurts, "I don't actually want you to die, so yeah, I probably should have brought something else." That's the smoothest move ever. She just grips the gift tight and swears she'll never, ever hand it back. After the main event, the party kicks into overdrive, music blares, and they dig into a feast so ridiculous it's almost unbelievable. Of course, everyone's dying to know how this guy managed to snag a legendary item in the first place. He just shrugs it off, swearing he got lucky out in the forest, but then a quick flashback hits. He dodged like a machine, slammed down a massive griffin-like beast, and snatched his prize like it was nothing. Luck, my foot, this absolute unit is built different. Out of nowhere, Lysia creeps up behind him and jabs him hard in the back. After the party, she leans in and whispers, begging him to give her a little time. He's pretty confused, but hey, who's he to say no when the world's calling? Later that night, they're up on the balcony by themselves, staring down at the city lights like the whole world can't touch them. Lysia has the platinum feather tucked into her hair, and it looks absolutely unreal. She leans in and tells him that celebrating her birthday like this feels unreal, like she's living inside a dream. Then she flips the whole game and drops a gift on him like a knockout punch. Our hero's totally baffled, because today is her birthday, so why does it feel like everything's gone sideways? She laughs and tells him she picked it because it fits him best. He snaps that box, but it slips his mind at the last second. She keeps pushing him, "Open it," until he finally gives in. He slams the case down and pops the latch open. Inside, there's a short sword so perfectly crafted it looks unreal. His mind snaps into gear, and suddenly he remembers the sword she lent him, the one he lost in that fight. This is her replacement. But it gets even crazier. He realizes the sword isn't just metal at all. It's a magic blade humming with raw power. Lysia's voice turns quiet as she admits she poured every last drop of her magic into it. Day after day, she poured holy magic into it, praying it would finally come in handy for him. Then bam, everything suddenly clicks for our main man. Those countless times she looked worn out and drained. Yeah, this is exactly why. He tightens his grip on the sword, and a brutal surge of power roars through it. He leans in and tells her he's genuinely happy, truly grateful. But he's got to ask, why would someone give him a gift every single year on his birthday? Her face erupts in an instant blush. She stammers out that she wants to celebrate his birthday too, but his is in the spring, and she can't stand the thought of waiting a whole extra year to hand him her gift. It's the wildest, most roundabout, heartbreakingly adorable confession you'll ever see. Our hopeless hero bursts into laughter, and it only cranks up her embarrassment even more. He grins and tells them it looks like both of them really gave it everything today. Staring up at the stars, he blurts out a single sentence, and the entire world instantly changes. Surprise turns out we're weirdly the same. Please make sure you still look out for me from now on, too. Lysia's tears hit the moment it happens. Right away, she starts crying. This dude is totally screwed. No clue where he is at all, and wait, what happens in the future? Why are you breaking down and crying? Tears of joy poured down her face as she reminded him, back when he always talked about going home. He leaned in and told her, "Just wait, I'm staying for good." Right when he's about to ask what she means, she presses a finger to her lips, then a radiant, happy smile bursts through the tears. It's a secret, one that could blow everything wide open if anyone ever found out. She'll swallow his word like gospel, and joy lights up her face like a firework. All right, hold up. After Lysia's birthday, we jump forward a few months. He leaped straight into the massive city of Ubeheim. A mysterious white-cloaked figure glides up to the laughably extravagant gates of Marquis Ignart's mansion. You know, just your average Tuesday stroll, when the gate guard steps in, ready to do his job, and with a quick, polite nod he says, "Excuse me, miss, but do you have an appointment?" Our mystery guest leans in and whispers, "Sorry," so fast it almost disappears. Then bam, he drops the most casually devastating flex ever. Slow motion hood toss, and that hair flip that screams, "Yeah, I'm him." The guard's soul rips out of his body on the spot. His mind blue screens mid-stutter, and he blurts a frantic apology like he can't stop it. She, on the other hand, looks totally unbothered, plopping on an absurdly huge wizard hat like, "Relax, my dude, I'm the one trying to stay incognito." She strides up to the main entrance like she owns the place, where a butler yanks the door open, staring like he just saw a ghost. And who's waiting in there? It's none other than the man himself, Marquis Ulysses Ignart. Turns out the hooded visitor isn't some stranger at all. She's Lady Crona, the headmaster of the Imperial Military Academy. Oh, and here's the best part. She's also the fiercest wizard on the planet, Chrono Highland. No big deal, sure. The Marquise acts like it's nothing, playing it cool as she welcomes her after she suddenly barges in with zero warning. After they order tea and load up on sweets, and the Marquis jumps straight to the point, "So I heard you've been gone on business. Then why are you here?" Chrono flashes him a cheeky grin and basically says, "Oh, you already figured it out, that's a secret." The Marquise isn't playing around. She shoves the conversation forward and demands a real answer. That's when Chrono drops the bombshell. "Wait, I gotta hear all about Len's story." And bam, right when the vibe feels friendly, it all shatters, and Marcus's face turns to stone. He whips a dead serious into her face. "So tell me, why did you do this?" He needs to know, right now, why she's hunting down info on Len Ashton. Chrono loudly credits the Ashton and Colossal families for everything, and still can't hide how grateful she is, but the Marquise is razor sharp. He fires back that when his daughter Fiona was sick, the Colossals came through, because Chrono sent them straight their way. He lays it out plain and simple. "I can't rest easy sharing any info on him when I don't even know why you want it. Trust is at absolute zero right now." Now the tension is absolutely off the charts. She hits a little brick wall in her mind, then she chirps a whole different tune, beam bright and harmless. Sorry, I'll explain the right way, so stop being so wary." The Marquis keeps Edgar as his butler. "So tell me, Edgar, what happened? Start giving me the full report." Apparently, Edgar just couldn't put Fiona's condition into words. Because our absolute unit Len threw himself in front of her, wounds everywhere, so she could stay safe. A real hero, no doubts, no hesitation. Right then, Fiona Ignart herself strides in, looking 1,000 times better. She's beaming, thanking Chrono, and telling him she feels stronger every single day. She's over the moon that she's back up, chatting with everyone like nothing happened. Chronoa decides it's finally time to get a real checkup. In Fiona's room. Chrono, her magic boom right there. The verdict Essen, Fiona's completely cleared, and she won't need any more medicine. There's one make or break rule. Eva never lets her take off the necklace Chronoa gave her. Chrono's eyes snap to a brand new academy uniform sitting on a mannequin. Fiona finally admits she already had it tweaked, and she's pushing to get ahead early. Chrono fires her up with a wink, teasing that she's gonna look absolutely incredible in it. But Fiona's confidence starts to crumble, and she straight up admits she can't even picture herself as a student. Sometime late, after she'd been sick and trapped in her room for what felt like forever, the mere idea of dodging her way through the capital and trying to make friends hits her like a tidal wave. Chrono flashed her a warm, steady smile. She could breathe again. "He'll be fine. I know you're a good girl, Fiona." She yanks her eyes to the mirror, like she's about to discover the truth staring right back. "Picture it," she whispers, "you in the uniform. Sitting down together, laughing with your friends, and finally savoring life, because from this point on, you've got nothing to fear." As Fiona locks eyes with her reflection, something unhinged suddenly erupts. She suddenly gets a full-blown vision, right there, still dressed in her uniform, racing through the roaring streets of the bustling city, clutching hands with a boy. It's a snapshot of pure happiness, Len and us strolling shoulder to shoulder, like the future can't hurt us. The vision snaps shut, and Fiona's face erupts, supernova red in an instant. Then she starts waving her hands like crazy. "It's nothing, okay? Please don't take it personally, I swear." Inside her head, a full-on panic storm rages. She can't believe she's imagining herself with someone she's never even met. Oh honey, if you only knew. That same night, Chrono finally has to slip out. While they walk, she lets more intel spill. She says she already scouted the Balder Mountains. They were set to use it as an exam site, then they yanked the plan and scrapped it. Turns out those clips are brutally steep, and the cold hits like a hammer, straight up a death trap for students. The Marquis lines in, glaring, and demands to know why she's handing him state secrets. But right before he can squeeze out a straight answer, they slam into the gate. Chrono blurts out that she's leaving the country, and she's not coming back for a full year. His eyes locked on the Holy Land, his destination at last. Turns out the Silver Cent Palace is in the middle of major renovations, and since this place is stuffed with holy relics and terrifying seals, every nation is scrambling to send their best fighters. Yeah, she's on that list. And if she's gone, the school gets handed over to that shady board of directors. The Marquis basically shrugs and says, yeah, it feels like a headache, so go have fun. Chronoha snaps to it, she's late. Wait, I've gotta run, like right now. She whips around and yells one final message. Fiona, I'll be cheering you on through your final exam. The Marquis leans in and sends her off with heartfelt well wishes. And then she vanishes into the night. And her ride, a ridiculously epic magic airship, already blasting off ahead into the glow of a full moon. And just like that, the world's greatest wizard gets knocked out for a full year. All right, hold up. Ryoma's morning kicks off with a wild special delivery. A woman from the guild leans in and tells him, straight up, that he's been nominated for a very specific kind of request. The job is simple, escort Sir Kai, and our main guy is totally thrown off because, surprise, he's standing in front of Sir Kai. Right before he can even process it, the hero himself crashes in, with his beastman partner, Mattias, right beside him. He wastes no time and starts trolling Ryoma about his height, because of course he does, right before Maids formally introduces them. They all take their seats, ready to dig into the details of this wildly ridiculous mission. Turns out the request comes from a government-approved trading company, one a proud noble in the hero's faction backs, and they want the hero's crew to play bodyguards for their messenger. Then the hero hits you with the first bombshell. This whole round trip is going to chew up a full month. You can practically watch our hopeless hero's enthusiasm drain out of him. The hero snaps out a map and lays out the route, carving a straight path straight through the deadly Baldur Mountains. He tells them the roads feel smooth at first, then the mountains hit like a full-on monster carnival, so they need an absolute beast on the team, like Ryoma. He even dangles the idea of a hidden map in there, laying out treasure and glory like bait to lure him in. But Ryoma's mind is already firing on all cylinders. He knows those mountains are packed with priceless steel-eating gargoyles. But he also knows it's the dead of winter. Whatever's out there is about to get wiped out under a wall of snow. The hero just shrugs it off and mutters that the merchants are so pushy they won't stop bothering him. Then they reel us in, demanding we chime his way, because if these merchants blow their livery window, their business gets wrecked for years, no mercy, and yeah, the guilt trip hits hard, folks. For the final pitch, the hero goes all in, double their usual pay, plus a huge bonus if they get everyone home safe. He leans in with a ridiculously shady grin, pressing Ryoma to admit whether he's still hesitating. Our boy pauses, really thinks it through for a heartbeat. Then he drops the most polite, get lost, ever, insisting he's got other work to handle and he can't stay away for a whole month. The hero faceplants on the table in utter defeat, then pops back up with a smug smirk, admitting he already knew that was the only way to crack it. Turns out Matey's isn't going either. He's got his own gig to crush. So our hero is left with one brutal job, find another poor sap at the guild. He decides to make it up to Ryoma and offers to buy him a beer for the trouble. But our guy stays pure and wholesome, then cracks a smile and asks for juice instead. Meanwhile, far away across the country, the Imperial capital was buzzing. Everything blaring at full volume. Right there, a gigantic high-tech magic airship sits docked, lights blazing, ready to blast off the moment the signal hits. An entire class of young cadets piles onto the transport in a rush, because they're all here for one thing, the final exam for the Imperial Military Academy's elite special class. Right there, a familiar face stands out, nervous as hell, but still refusing to back down. On the bridge, the crew hustles through their last pre-flight checks, racing the clock before takeoff. Yeah, the commander gets the flight plan shoved right into his hands. And his eyes bulged so hard, they looked like they might shoot right out of his skull. Are you sure that's right? Because he demands it, and he looks completely stunned. His subordinate nods and swears it's real. The director is on board, and even the magic tool craftsmen have all stamped approval on this absolutely unhinged scheme. It's the one spot where they can really put every candidate through their paces, especially when winter shuts everything down. The commander scans every last line of the rules, and the location is buried so deep in secrecy that nobles and commoners are forced to fight on equal ground. With a grim, resigned glare, he finally barks out the last order. The ship's rotors scream to life, ripping through the silence, and the colossal vessel roars to life, lifting off into the snowy sky like it owns the heavens. The ship blasts through the clouds like a lightning strike in the sky. Its final destination slammed into view, the Baldur Mountains. Yep, same chaotic, snow-blasted death trap kid, who wisely dodged it before, is now the final exam site for a whole crew of teenagers. Oh yeah, this gets messy fast. All right, buckle up, we're diving right back into the chaos. Winter hits, and Lysia just stares out at the snow like she knows something's coming. Her whole face screams, I have a bad feeling about this. And yeah, pretty sure it's true. We get this quick flashback to Len, who's been grinding nonstop, hammering his sword skills day after day, pushing himself to the limit, and even earning respect from the old guard for all that hard work. This guy isn't just sitting around, he's earning his keep by shoveling snow off the entire mansion roof and jumping in to tackle every chore. But it's not all explosions. There's even that sweet, quiet moan with him and Lysia, while they calmly sort through paperwork like the cutest power couple alive. But everything falls apart the moment a maid storms in with a whole mountain of official-looking scrolls. She says the villages have plenty of supplies, but this insane wall of snow is wrecking property left and right. Closel, the one in charge, drops the worst news. Snow so brutal it jams the roads and even crushes those old houses to rubble. The villagers are screaming for backup, and without missing a beat, our main guy fires off the question, is Closel sending knights out right now? And before Closel can even finish his sentence, Len jumps in, oh, broken houses. I used to fix my dad's place all the time, put me in, coach. And this absolute unit just wants to help, whether it's charging into monster territory on an epic expedition or grabbing tools to patch up a roof for the villagers. Closel lets out a heavy sigh, eyes lighting up like he's genuinely impressed, then tells him, go for it. So yeah, for once, it looks like everything's finally under control. But right when the sun starts to dip, everything snaps sideways. You bet it does. An emergency smoke signal suddenly erupts from the Baldur Mountains. Len's hero's senses go wild the moment he asks the most obvious question, are people in trouble? You bet your sweet magic sword it does. Closel leans in and says there's an old fortress up there adventurers use as shelter, and that signal screams that someone's life is hanging by a thread. Then he drags out a shady letter and admits, straight up, he wasn't even sure he should show it to Len. It's another nomination request, and this time it's for Lizard, made us. And the one in trouble, that smug, overconfident adventure captain we ran into earlier. Yep, Lizard and his crew. Yeah, they're the ones absolutely doomed. And Len instantly realizes it. This fortress is ancient. If they run out of supplies and can't stay warm, they'll turn into human popsicles. Closel yanks the classic move, I told you so, because he already warned them not to go. But then bam, our boy drops a total bombshell. Lizard is someone he knows. And it keeps getting hotter. Turns out Lizard told him this whole trip is bankrolled by a merchant with direct ties to the hero's faction. Closel's expression crumples, are those guys back again? Then Closel panics and blurts out apologies, convinced this is the hero's petty revenge over their last run-in. But no time to waste. He's already ordered the knights out to aid the villages, and they'll ride right past the fortress too. It's a cold, calculated strike. Not just to save the adventurers, he had to keep the Closel family name from getting dragged into even more insane political chaos. But our hopeless hero won't sit on the sidelines. He locks eyes with that cliffhanger stare, says, I'm going, and then declares, Lizard is my problem now. Closel slams his face into his palm, already knowing this would happen, and absolutely despising that he has to call on Len again. Len just shrugs it off and says, plain and loud, that he'll protect this place and everyone who calls it home. With his whole crew of friends charging in behind him, he's ready to roll out and hit the ground running. Defeated, Closel gives in. All right, he says, I'm counting on you. But hang on, there's a catch, and it's never just one, always a catch. Closel slams down the rules. You can tag along with the knights to the fortress, but you're banned from taking that official request. Len's logic is rock solid. If he signs on as an adventurer, the law forces him to guard Lizard's crew through that brutal mountain pass, where the weather is so savage it might as well be a death sentence. He finally gets it fully, and he blurts out his thanks, thanking the guy for always watching out for him. Just like that, the rescue party snaps together, and they're already charging out. Len tears into a heartfelt goodbye, hugging his friends tight while they stay behind. Out of nowhere, Lysia comes barreling through the snow, yelling his name at the top of her lungs. She tells him to hold out his hand, and a brilliant flash detonates from her fingertip. She unleashes some insanely high-tier sacred magic, flooding his arm with pure, radiant light. Our main man clenches his fists, and you can feel the power ripping through him. Lysia tells him it's only a temporary shield, just a little boost to keep him alive, and her way of helping, no strings attached. Len looks genuinely shaken, and he tells her, Your support is all I need. I'll give it everything I've got." Lysia confessed she wanted to go with him, but her dad slammed his foot down and shut it down. The unsuspecting lead just grins and vows she'll take care of her part of the work. He then flexes the fancy dagger she gave him, swears it's his lucky charm, and tells her not a single thing is going to go wrong. They lock eyes and share a quiet, loaded look that says everything without a single word. Then Lysia's tone turns razor-sharp. She demands I take her seriously and asks me to promise her. She locks eyes with him like a blade, then warns, "Never, do you hear me? Never push yourself past the breaking point, okay?" With that gut-wrenching plea, she pushes him out the door, then whispers, "Take care." "All right, buckle up. Our mission is simple. Get our boy and his crew hauling ass to the Baldur Mountains." And when I say crew, I mean this full-on army convoy, snaking through the frozen wasteland like it owns the place. This isn't some run-of-the-mill road trip. This is a full-scale expedition, with more carriages than a royal wedding. Leading the charge are some battle-scarred adventurers, including a guy with wolf ears who looks like he's survived every nightmare already. And right in the middle of these grizzled veterans, there's our main guy, staring up a storm of danger with way too much calm for some kid stepping into hostile territory. This absolute unit is riding like he's got the future in his back pocket, and he knows exactly what's coming next. The road grinds them down, one day melts into the next night, and the crew finally drops anchor, making camp, trading stories, and eating by a crackling fire. Even the locals, like those wildly confused three-eyed bunnies, are peeking out like, what is this noisy parade? The expedition drives forward, smashing across frozen rivers and slogging through endless snow like it's got a personal grudge. They finally push through that tiny village, buried under deep snow, like it was blocking their whole way. They don't just roll in and walk out, our hero, and the crew snatch up shovels and dig beside the villagers until they're free, because that's exactly what real heroes do. Even the main hero has to roll up his sleeves and do some hard manual labor sometimes. After saving the day, they jump right back onto the road. Another night, another campfire. Our hero finally steals a moment of sleep while everyone else keeps watch. He even pauses to connect with his horse, like a total man of culture, no question. After what feels like forever, they finally stumble into the clearing, while the Baldur Mountains rise over them like a jagged crown of ice, cold and merciless. He stares at that epic view for half a second, and you can practically see the thought hit him, here we go. The instant they cross into the real mountain range, the sky just flips on a dime, and the weather hits like a switchblade. A wild blizzard erupts out of nowhere, smashing into them with brutal wind and stinging snow. The storm rages so wild, it smashes our boy clean off his feet. The wolf-eared adventurer blasts. The path is totally gone, buried so deep it's even swallowed the trees. One of the knights blurts out that they could melt the snow with magic, but that's basically a one-way ticket to getting wiped out by an avalanche. Caught realizing they're basically doomed for the night, the lead knight slams down a plan and orders them to set up a base camp. They've got to reach Fort ASAP, no matter what, but charging through this chaotic weather feels like signing their own death warrant. Later, a weird light blasts across the horizon. Our main man clocks a smoke signal cutting through the sky. The others finally breathe out, treating it like proof that the fort's crew is still alive. But this guy isn't celebrating at all. He knows that group was stuffed with battle-tested adventurers, and if they're trapped and begging for rescue, then something has gone horribly, catastrophically wrong. The knights lock eyes and finally admit it. Something awful has hit them hard, and this disaster wasn't on anyone's radar. To fend off the cold, they crank up a magic heater that glows bright, like a warm orb of pure comfort. The crew hammers out their strategy, and this absolute unit, Sig, tells everyone to hand the luggage transport to the other adventurers while he and the crew lock in, ready to crush whatever monsters come next. The elf ladies waste zero time and instantly volunteer to stick right beside Mr. Hero, and that makes the older adventurers' patience snap, though honestly, you can't blame them for having impeccable taste. Next up, the journey throws you into pure hell. They haul sleds up brutal, snow-choked slopes, and every single step feels like the mountain is fighting back. At night, the camp flickers like a tiny island of light, swallowed by a brutal sea of freezing dark. Then the episode hits you with a rock-climbing gauntlet, because naturally it does. They have to tackle an icy cliff, rope up together, and heave their supplies to the top while the cold tries to break them. It's pure teamwork. Every single person throws in their strength, hand to hand, until they climb all the way to the top. After all that chaos, our boy finally drops the weight, takes a well-earned break, sips something warm, and stares out at that terrifyingly gorgeous view. But the wicket won't let up. The trek rips on, slogging through waist-deep snow in a slow, brutal grind. Everyone is digging deeper and deeper, their breaths blasting out like icy smoke in the cold air. Every single step feels like a fight for his life. Then they spot it, one gigantic, swaying suspension bridge, lunging across a canyon that looks like certain death. It looks like someone built it with toothpicks and sheer spite, like they dared the world to fall apart. One knight casually drops the bombshell. A dormant volcano is buried under the canyon. Our hero doesn't even flinch, he just thinks, yeah, I know. Then he drops, read it in the light novel. Absolute ultimate flex. After they tore their way across the bridge from hell, they don't stop for a second, they keep marching straight ahead. Then boom, this wolf-eared adventurer suddenly freezes in place. Wait, he blurts, and horror creeps across his face like it's finally caught up to him. But the whole party suddenly freezes, feeling that sharp tension snap into the air. His voice barely crawls out as a whisper, laced with pure dread, then you realize it's a monster. His eyes are bulging with pure, unfiltered panic. And out in the distance, the nightmare finally shows its face, for its destination is totally swarmed by a plague of flying monsters, and this isn't a rescue anymore. It's a straight-up suicide run. Alright, let's jump straight back into the chaos. Right on cue, a squad of adventurers looks like they picked the absolute worst day imaginable, because they're staring down a full-on tidal wave of Yeti gorillas and flying monstrosities. That local wolf boy breaks it down like a tactical mastermind, like wow, there are just so many of them. No kidding, dude, this master plan is an all-out sprint for the fortress. That fortress is about as sturdy as wet cardboard, then it instantly blows to pieces, launching its defenders straight into the sky like they're weightless. Right when it looks like all hope is dead, a total surprise backup crashes onto the scene. And trust me, this rescue party is nothing like the usual. It's a bunch of kids who instantly start flexing some straight-up ridiculous magic. They unleash a savage volley of fireballs that completely vaporizes the monster's front line. Meanwhile, the fortress keeps spectacularly bombing the one job it was built to do. And would you believe it, our main man just steps in like it's nothing, casually casting a spell that tears the ground open and slams the monster stampede to a dead stop. The original adventurers are totally stumped. These kids are tossing high-level magic like candy, and they're nowhere on the guild roster. Sir Unicorn Shield, the squad leader, throws down a brilliant decision, deal with the details later. Right now, we're saving lives. The battlefield explodes into pure, unhinged chaos. All the other kids around our boy are just as stumped, staring at the newcomers like, who are you guys? But Wolf Boy clocks a good thing the second it's in front of him, then basically tells everyone, just roll with whatever hits you. Our boy's already knee-deep in the chaos, plunging his blade into a monster while a full-blown existential panic rips through him. Because seriously, why are literal kids out here fighting for their lives? He watches those other kids glide around with flawless skill, magic nowhere in sight, and his mind basically gets blown to pieces. This guy's starting to seriously doubt whether any of this is real. That monster horde doesn't care what he's thinking for a second. They start smashing the castle walls with giant hammers. One of the girls from our hero squad rockets through the air, slashing flying lizards apart like she's cutting vegetables. Then boom, we run into asterisk adder asterisk. This girl starts summoning a ridiculous swarm of snowflake ice daggers, and they whirl around her like a blizzard made of blades. She shuts her eyes tight, sucks in a deep breath, and then he unleashes a blizzard straight from hell, full blast. Her ice blades tear straight through the monster ranks, cutting a path with unstoppable fury, turning the whole field into a breathtaking, reckless meat grinder. That Tigrity absolute unit roars at full volume, and not a single bit of it even cares. It's a huge mistake, and before the dust even settles, our protagonist rockets onto its back to land a deadly, game-changing critical hit. The Ice Girl blasts out some brutal fire support, hurling a handful of ice stars straight into the beast's face. Our boy locks eyes with her, and steely determination burns in his gaze. And she snaps her gaze back, utterly stunned by his swordsmanship, just a heartbeat of mutual respect blooming in the middle of a war zone. They snap into perfect sync and fight back-to-back, tearing apart anything that dares to get close. Two unstoppable forces ignite, right in front of our eyes. The girl freezes in shock, stammering, why are you doing this? And our main guy, calm as ice, just shrugs and says, I'm with the crew here to rescue everyone. Then he whips around on the spot and absolutely annihilates the monster he was talking over, pure, unfiltered disrespect. Fueled by his flex, the Ice Girl snaps into full power and drops a ridiculously overpowered area of effect blast. Her ice blades explode into a raging storm of razor-sharp death, blanketed the whole place in thick carpeting, and froze every single monster solid into eerie ice sculptures. This guy's totally stunned, staring at her like, whoa, her magic is unreal, and she's thinking the exact same thing about him. His swordsmanship is on a whole other level. They huddle shoulder to shoulder, the neighborhood's brand new power couple, ready to smash whatever comes next. Turns out there's nothing left, no hope, no answers, just emptiness. With the sunrise burning over everything, the fight finally slams to a close. The ground is a graveyard of frozen monster corpses, shattered ice scattered everywhere like the world just got wrecked. The adventurers finally get to exhale, like they just survived the worst of it. Our hero drops straight into check-in mode with his new partner. Hey, are you okay? She finally admits it, her first time ever going up against that many monsters at once. The second she understood they'd won, the fight just drained out of her body. He reaches out and offers his hand like the ultimate gentleman, and she can't stop blushing, still flustered, but she takes it and lets him pull her up. He flashes a calm smile, tells her she's got nothing to worry about, and plays it cool like it's all under control. But then his gamer brain snaps on. He clocks her necklace in a heartbeat and knows it's the exorcism necklace, a certified trash tier item, and yeah, something sketchy is definitely going down. The wolf leader strides up, practically breathing out in relief because the kids are safe and sound. He heard our boy was stepping up to lead them. And now he's desperate for answers. Why are a bunch of teenagers camped out inside a death trap? That stuff is so thick it feels unreal. Before she even has a chance to answer, that girl snaps the whole conversation around. Just so you know, before I say anything, you people are from the Clausel family, right? Sir Unicorn Shield swears it's true. This crew is the official rescue squad, dispatched by the head himself. This is a huge relief for her. She finally pushes past his cagey act and asks, straight up, for his name. And then bam, the real bombshell hits. She stands tall, like she's about to blow everything wide open. Takes one sharp breath, like they're bracing for impact. She slips into her real identity, and that's when Fiona finally speaks. My name is Fiona. Oh, trust me, it gets even wilder. I'm Ulysses Ignarts, Lord of Ubeheims, and I'm the only daughter. Mic drop, she's not some random nobody, she's real deal royalty. And our unsuspecting hero's brain totally fizzled out like a burnt circuit. The moment he registers that he just saved a VIP, pure shock explodes across his face, and it's priceless. Alright, let's jump straight back into the chaos. This time we get a snapshot of the past, where a young lady steps forward and introduces herself like, I'm Fiona, the only daughter of some heavyweight lord with serious power. Keep that name tucked in your back pocket, folks, trust me, you'll need it. Now fast forward to the present, and our boy is standing out in a frozen wasteland. And right there, face to face, with that same girl. Right then, a brand new crew rolls in, led by a guy radiating serious catboy energy, and he introduces himself as Mattis, the leader of a rescue squad out to save stranded adventurers. They've all barricaded themselves inside a crummy fort way out in the middle of nowhere. Fiona blurts out that her whole group are examinees, and they've been trapped in here for days. Matey's jaw drops so hard it might as well hit the floor. He realizes this frozen, dead-still ice block is the Imperial Military Academy's final exam arena for the special class, and trust me, these aren't your average rookies. Our main guy stares ahead, trying to wrap his head around the total disaster he just stumbled into. Admitted he'd been half sure they were a bunch of lost nobles. Honestly, that guess wasn't far off at all. He panics realizing he just dished out rude talk to the nation's future elites, and the guy in the back goes full cackle, laughing at him nonstop. When Matey's tells his crew to introduce themselves, they just shoot it down. Nah, we're good. Turns out getting mixed up with nobles is basically asking for disaster, even if the payoff might be a fat paycheck. They learn the hard truth. In high society, every smile comes with high-stakes drama. The scaly guy steps in and plays diplomat, lays down a clean deal, and tells his team to guide the students down the mountain and keep them safe. They just want one thing in return. Don't let us get sucked into the political mess these kids are tangled in. Fiona doesn't see another way out, so she nods and agrees to the terms. Let's do this. But our boy, the ultimate strategist, starts tearing the story apart, straight up asking if that special ass exam could really leave them so clueless for a blizzard. Made us confirm it. These kids are the cream of the crop, and they should have walked in ready to take over. Fiona watches, eyes sharp, because she knows he's dead on. She tells him it all blew up a week ago, straight from bad to worse. And on top of that, monsters are pouring in by the dozen, so many that they're absolutely vacuuming their stamina dry. The moment the adventurers hear that, suspicion snaps into place, like they can feel it in their bones that the monsters are zeroing in on the examinees. This absolute unit stays silent, but you can practically hear the gears grinding in his head. His internal monologue explodes into overdrive. This whole setup screams shady, because a final exam should have proctors watching them like hawks. But it's empty, nobody's there, and this isn't supposed to feel this impossible. The blizzard is so out of control that even pro-adventurers are getting left stranded. The scaled adventurer clocks our boy's razor-sharp stare and confirms what he feared. Yeah, you're right, this whole situation is not asterisk normal. Turns out some of these students are nobility from other countries, and if they get killed, it could spark a full-on international incident. Yeah, these adventurers are being downright disrespectful, because getting themselves killed is worse than taking a little shame. Fiona drops yet another bomb, and the adventurer gasps, "Wait, you guys were looking for us." Yeah, they're right inside the fort. The rescue team's faces fall in an instant. Oh no, this is bad. They slam the doors open and charge through to a makeshift infirmary that looks like it was thrown together in a heartbeat. Every single bed turns into a wild adventure. People drop hard, totally knocked out. These guys are gasping for air, pale as ghosts, like death is right on their heels. Rip Dust to his friend's side, screaming the name like it was life or death. Kai snap out of it. I've tried calling, but you're getting no response. The students are totally clueless. 1 second the adventurers are fine, and the next they're wiped out and totally unable to move. A blonde student strides forward and blurts out that they came running the moment they spotted the smoke signal the examiners had fired. This kid, somehow he's the group's medic, steps in and says the magic power inside the adventurers' bodies has ballooned way beyond normal. He calls it a vessel fracture, an absolute nightmare where magic that doesn't match your body starts chewing you up from the inside out. Just hearing that name alone makes our hero's spine turn to ice. The medic tells them it's almost always an illness that hits kids hard because their magic goes wild, unstable, and out of control. And here's the wild part. Those crazy symptoms are already fading away. And unlike the usual cases, these guys will probably bounce back on their own if they just get enough rest. With that not-so-doom news in hand, they decide to scout the area and map out how they're getting out. Fiona watches the medic in silence, her thoughts screaming that she's stuck depending on the Clausel family's power again. With the tension finally easing, 2 of the female adventurers decide this is their moment to take their shot at our unsuspecting lead. And they line in, whispering, "Don't worry, let the men handle it. So why don't we pick out a room together, right now?" And our boy's reaction, he says nothing, just drops the coldest, deadpan shutdown anyone's ever seen. Please don't do stuff like that when we're stuck in a moment like this. The sharp ice in his voice knocks the air out of them, speechless. Ouch. Just a moment after, Fiona storms up to him, looking totally flustered. And our poor, hopeless hero shoots her a look like, "Okay, what now?" She stammers, flailing for words, insisting she wasn't pushing for a three-way. She was just watching him get hit on over by the sewer. He shrugs it off and goes along with it, and she finally exhales in relief. Right when it finally starts to feel real, their awkward little moment gets yanked away by an interruption. Right when another student yanks Fiona, Lady Ignart, off to the side for a secret private chat. Fiona flashes a quick excuse, then vanishes, leaving that guy stuck all by himself again. Right before she disappears for good, she whips around and looks back. "I just wanted to thank you for helping me earlier," she says, beaming like the whole world just brightened. Our boy S left scratching his head. Maybe she thinks he's just some random adventurer in that getup, but when she looks his way, he grins right back. And in that single moment, it hits him. He blew his one chance completely to finally make his big entrance and introduce himself the right way. Classic all right, let's roll, because we kick things off with this painfully grim castle, and it's getting slammed under an avalanche of snow. The whole place screams one thing, something S about to go horribly wrong, because the fortress is rattling under the blizzard's brutal assault. Inside, the stranded examinees huddle up, panicking as they scramble to figure out what to do next. While some of the knights are heaving supplies like they're in the middle of a full-blown medieval grocery run. The main squad is stuffing their faces, and the big topic is their wild, current chaos, but the examinees are too proud to take help, convinced it would break the rules. One of the night's brightest points just calls out the obvious. Why wasn't that exam venue sealed off from outsiders in the first place, so this kind of nightmare couldn't happen? Then Ren, our quiet little listener, finally snaps and drops a truth bomb. It wasn't sealed at all, and the adventurers were already inside long before the exam even kicked off. The wheels in his mind are spinning, and he smells a conspiracy from a mile off. That night, one of them presses even harder, demanding to know if Ren suspects a third party is pulling the strings. Speculation ignites, so tell me, is the royal family secretly yanking the strings behind all this shady chaos? Nah, the head knight shuts that down in a heartbeat, because picking a fight with the ruthless Marquis Ignart is a political disaster nobody wants anywhere near them. Then the pot gets hotter. Turns out the Academy's headmaster just up and vanished the moment before all this chaos erupted. Suspicious as it gets, right? The knights snap into action. No more waiting on these students to finally get it together. They're ready to forcibly escort anyone who can't fight their way down the mountain, especially the ones who are seriously injured. Then our main man lines in and demands, so what's happening to the wounded? They even drop a bombshell about Lady Ignart's mysterious healing skill, and Ren's eyes light up as he mentally files it for later. The knights nearly choke when they spot Ren just hanging out with Lady Ignart, the same girl he saved. He can't stop thinking about it, how he never even got the chance to properly introduce himself to the one person who literally saved his life. He's still trying to read her like a mystery, convinced she's got the heart of an adventurer. But the knights shove the pact back into his face, no meddling in each other's business, so yeah, they figure it's for the best. Our hopeless hero gives in and agrees, then decides to tuck it away for now. Later he trudged through a dark, torchlit hallway, every step echoing in the shadows. Ren finally drops into a chair in his room and breathes for a second, just for peace. From the magic lantern Lysia handed him, she just stood there watching, because now he had no clue how the heck to switch it on. And just like that, she dropped an instruction manual into his hands. He spots a tiny switch up top, taps it once, and boom, light floods the place instantly. But wait, there's more. When our unsuspecting hero holds that note up to the fresh light, a secret message suddenly blooms before his eyes. It looked like regular writing, but then the words only showed up with some kind of hidden, invisible ink magic. It's Lysia's message, so sweet it'll practically rot your teeth. Be home soon, all right. If you're taking too long, I'm coming to pick you up myself. Ren just grins, and you can practically see his heart soften on the spot. Roger that. Back at the estate, Lysia keeps her eyes locked on the snowy sky above, stars blazing like they're daring her to look. Her mind was locked on our boy, crystal clear and impossible to ignore. Her maid warns she'll catch a cold, but Lysia shrugs it off and says the cool air feels incredible. That maid, sharp as a tack, leans in and asks if Ren is the reason she's worried. Lysia finally admits it. Yeah, she's hiding something, but it's not the same story everyone else tells. With unbreakable faith blazing in her eyes, she declares, I'm the one who knows just how strong Ren really is. Mic drop, this maid flashes a smile, and it's like she gets every single thing instantly. Inside, Lysia's cool composure just vanishes, like it never existed. A dress lies spread out across her bed, begging to be worn. And the moment it happens, she totally panics, shooting back that it means absolutely nothing. But the maid can't forget, she still has the dress Ren gave her. She clocks Lysia's act instantly and realizes her lady isn't playing, she's just starving for company. Caught red-handed, Lysia grips the dress tight, cheeks blazing red, and pleads with her maid to keep her secret. The maid flashes a knowing, warm smile like she already knows the whole secret. Yes. On that frozen mountain, the adventurers stagger downhill, dragging the injured with them. All right, the plan is simple. We split up. The bee-skin guy rides with the knights to go hunt down reinforcements, while the others stay back, gripping their posts to protect the rest of the examinees. Our main man gives a quiet nod, then they break off and disappear. Watching that tiny group trudge through the endless white, one grueling step at a time. Suddenly, boom, the ground tore apart beneath them. A minivan-sized monster crashes out of the snow like a nightmare, ready to pancake every last one of them. Before anyone even gets a scream out, this absolute unit, Ren, moves like lightning. With one clean slice, the behemoth lets out a brutal thump and gets completely obliterated. The knights just stand there, mouths hanging open. One of them blurts out, "Holy, this is incredible. With this, we'll have enough food to last a whole month." Ren casually cracked the whole logistics mess in under 5 seconds, straight up flexing like it was nothing. After he finally got a long overdue shower, Ren slips out into the hallway, a fresh jolt of energy filling him, and crashes straight into Lady Ignart. It's that classic awkward hallway crash. She suddenly yelps and blurts out non-stop apologies. As he tells her, our boy shrugs it off like, it's fine. But they just freeze there, stammering like fools, fully stuck in pure awkward silence. Then she steels herself, finally blurting out the question she's been holding back. "My savior's in Colossal, I heard you're from there. Tell me, have you ever met him?" Our hero-s totally lost. Like, what is even happening right now, huh? Ouch, what a cruel joke. She tells them the knights are swamped, and she can't shake the feeling that her savior is about her age. She locks eyes on the guy she's talking to the whole time, while Ren stays totally silent, like his brain S about to short circuit. As soon as she realizes she's about to break their promise and step in, panic hits her hard, and she blurts out apologies all over again. Our guy, the ultimate gentleman, shrugs it off like it's nothing. But once it's gone for good. It's completely over for him. He's crushed, utterly dejected, and broken down. She was right there, so close it hurt, but once again, she couldn't bring herself to tell him the truth. Nope, not worth it. All right, let's jump in. We kick off in a brutal, snow-choked wasteland, the kind of place you'd only end up if you lost a bet. But deep inside a fortress, someone dozes peacefully, totally oblivious while a blizzard rages outside, trying to rip the world apart. Suddenly, we're yanked into a dream, warm, golden memories blazing bright, while the cold, icy reality feels like it's miles away. On a bright, beautiful day, a girl strolls right beside a boy, side by side like the world can't wait for what happens next. She cracks a joke about the heat, like it's something out to get her. And our main man just nods like it's the easiest yes of his life. He flashed her a soft, tender smile that made the whole moment feel warm. The kind that makes her freeze in place, like she wants to bottle the moment and never let it go. And just like that, her eyes snapped open. She jolts upright, utterly stunned and lost. Her mind was doing backflips, trying to crack why she'd just been dreaming about Mr. Adventurer's face. Outside her window, snow keeps hammering the fort's cold stone walls, white flakes swirling like the world won't stop freezing. We get a fast montage of survival. He hauls water from a deep well, shares a hard-won meal with the other survivors, and nurses the sick back to strength. Yeah, it's brutal, but somehow they're still making it work. On the ramparts, one lone figure keeps watch. Yeah, it's Len, and his shift just ended for real. This guy decides he needs something warm to drink, and then hits the hay, because honestly, in this frozen wasteland, that's a totally reasonable plan. He barrels into the kitchen, shoves the door wide, and immediately freezes. There, standing right in front of him, is the girl from his escort mission. The awkward air in this room is so heavy it feels cuttable, and yet he forces out a good evening, while she practically leaps out of her skin, then stammers out one single back, like her words ran for their lives. They both snap their gaze away at once, cheeks burning as a full-on blush rushes over them. Her mind is racing because it's him, the exact guy from her dream. Our lead, totally clueless, just blurts out, "Is something wrong?" She panics, yanks out the world's most laughable weapon, and flashes a smile that screams, "Relax, I'm totally freaking out." She says she was only making tea, and this absolute unit, without skipping a beat, steps right in like, "Yeah, I'll join too. Smooth, my dude, smooth." So they crank the heat until the water roars, and they just stand there in this brutally awkward silence that feels louder than any words. She stretches up on her toes, snatches the tea leaves from the shelf, and yanks them down fast. She realized there were more choices than she'd ever expected. But right when she reaches for that jar, our guy shoots his hand out for the exact same jar, same time, same second. Their hands finally brush, and boom, classic rom-com magic hits, working perfectly like it always does. She stares at him, totally rattled, like her heart's doing the Macarena in her chest. She yanks her hand back and blurts out apology after apology, but he stays stone calm, still holding the jar, and casually asks if she wants to try that one. Then he starts brewing the tea with the razor focus of a bomb disposal expert, every second dialed in. He strains the leaves to perfection, and they huddle by the firelight, sipping their late-night drink like it's the best moment of the world. She takes a daring sip, and her eyes flare wide and she blurts, "That's incredible," properly stunned like she can't believe it's real. She finally admits she never expected him to be this much better at it than her. She admits she used to be painfully frail, and her maid stepped in to teach her a few life-saving lessons. But let's be real, she was also a little clumsy. She tells them that brewing tea is part of her recovery, something that keeps her body moving again, but no matter how many tries she shoved in, the food still came out tasting awful. Our boy grins at her and says, "Making tea isn't simple, it's a whole complicated art." And then he blurts it out, the one sentence that flips everything. The medicine she got works way better when she drinks it as tea. He figures out the hard way that some monster materials can't be used as medicine the same way. You've got to handle them completely differently. She nods hard and blurts, "Yeah, it really does feel that way." And somehow getting it into tea just drains that bitterness right out. They share a warm, peaceful moment by the crackling fire, like the whole world finally goes silent. Everything's calm, so calm it feels sweet. And then the record scratches, right in her brain. She's just vibing, savoring every second like it's the best part of her life. The moment his words finally slammed into her, her eyes snap wide with total shock. Never once did I tell him the medicine was stitched together with monster parts, did I? Then it hits her like a lightning bolt, the corpse of the very monster her cure uses. Before Lady Ignart can even catch her breath, some goon pops up out of nowhere, hammers her with "It's late, go to bed," like that's supposed to fix everything. And she stammers, words caught in her throat, because that revelation fries her brain. She strides off, drowning in her own thoughts, like it means everything, like I can't brush it off as mere coincidence. And then I hit the thought, could that Mr. Adventurer, could he really? The guard clocks the panic in her face and realizes something terribly wrong. But she snaps around, and her face turns ice cold and deadly serious. Can I ask you one quick question? All right, hold on tight. This world is frozen solid, and a brutal blizzard is pounding the land nonstop. A ragtag band of warriors trudges through the merciless snow, barely holding on as their strength finally runs out. Their destination, an ugly, grim fortress jutting off the edge of the world. Right when everything feels hopeless, the fortress gates burst open, and then that familiar face rockets into view. It's happening, it's a full-blown party, and they just rolled in with reinforcements. They said every merchant's patched up and ready, so yeah, it's finally time to tear out of this frozen hellscape. Our boy instantly sweeps the crowd with his eyes, searching for one specific person. Then he blurts, "Excuse me, where's mateys?" The answer he gets is straight up disappointing. Foxman just shrugs, says Mata vanished without a trace, drops a message, and then bolts. That note basically claimed Kai wasn't healing right, but it's the weakest excuse ever to dump your own student. The rest of the crew is absolutely furious, calling it a ridiculously irresponsible stunt. I mean, come on, he signs up to help, then vanishes the second he gets the chance. That's not just rude, it's pure shady S-level. But not everyone is a flake. When the Beastman duo steps forward, they swear that since our guy saved their kids, they're riding with him all the way till the end, because loyalty like that hits different folks. Then morning hit, and everything rolled straight into the next day. Our unsuspecting hero is already on his feet, lantern in hand, fully ready to set off into the dark. Beyond the fortress walls, the whole crew finally huddled together for the massive act of rebellion. That lizard man lays down the rules. If you're an examinee, you travel light, drop the heavy gear, or hand it off to an adult. As everyone scrambles to get ready, our hero suddenly gets a gut-churning feeling that something's about to go terribly wrong. He leans over to the guy beside him and whispers that a strange, lukewarm wind just swept by, straight up wrong for a blizzard. The group kicks off their march, one long, winding line of people, surging forward like a heartbeat against a brutal sea of white. But as they keep walking, dread starts creeping up their spine. They've been pounding down this same road for what feels like forever. And not a single examiner has shown up yet. This isn't normal. It's a giant, waving red flag. Then they spot it, an enormous, wobbling bridge dangling over a chasm, so deep you can't even see the bottom. It looks like someone glued it together with toothpicks and pure hope. Then the wind hit, and it started shaking like it was one gust away from collapse. And with one terrifying heartbeat, every soul rips free from their body. The professional lizard men bark at the kids to grip tight and hold on for dear life as they cross. And yeah, right on cue, cocky blonde Zemini scoffs and says, "No need, who do you think we are?" He flexes like a showman, chest pushed out, and that hanging bridge still doesn't rattle the famous, prestigious special class examiners in the slightest. Then he plants his foot and takes just one step onto the bridge. And with one fatal choice, he gets shoved straight into the void, no way back. His whole life reels through his mind as he locks eyes with the endless abyss. The lizard man strolls over like he owns the place, points and talks like the bridge isn't literally trying to chew this kid up. The blonde guy, bone pale like a ghost, straight up admits he doesn't know if he can pull it off. "Buddy, come on, we both know you can't." Seeing that total disaster, the other adventurers step up and take charge, steering the kids across no matter what. While everyone else barrels to the other side, our boy and Maria get stuck behind. And his friend tells him, "Go ask the knight for help," but this guy has way crazier plans of his own. He snaps his head to Maria and blurts out, all shaky, asking if she'd cross with him. She breaks into this tiny, adorable blush, and fires back, "You're sure?" But then she grins, admitting she'd been planning to ask him from the very beginning, smooth as hell. And just like that, the two of them kick off their terrifying dash across the bridge. Hand in hand, our hero clocks that she's rattled, like something just hit her way harder than she's letting on. She shoots out an apology, admitting she was way more scared than she ever expected. Then she glances at him and tells him she's fine, because he's standing there ready to protect her. She tells him the brutal truth, her whole life. She's been so sick she's never known if tomorrow would even come. Crushed by that non-stop fear. That busted rickety bridge, it's nothing compared to what's coming. Our main man just grins, so yeah, things are looking good. But just as that wholesome moment finally ends, that weird feeling is back, and this time the lukewarm wind hits harder, like it's coming for his nerves. Out of nowhere, the bridge jerks and bucks, like it's about to snap in half. A blast of scorching heat rockets up from beneath him. He's not imagining it, something real is going down, and it's definitely happening. Below them, the air starts to spin and churn, swallowing the chasm into a dark, doom-breathing vortex right in the middle. Panic slams our hero back into reality. He snatches Maria and roars the only two words that matter right now: run, because something from below the US is closing in. Everyone on the far side snaps their heads around, utterly lost for words. Then it all explodes, an ice-searing flash tears out of the vortex, and a colossal column of swirling fire erupts right after. A literal fire tornado erupts and roars to life, tearing through everything in its path. Diving into that chasm, it swallowed everything in an unholy blaze. The sheer size of it is straight-up mind-blowing. Swearing he'd torch the entire bridge into ashes. Everyone just stands there, frozen in pure, jaw-dropping shock. Can this be real? All right, brace yourself. This final exam just flipped from hard to full-on apocalypse. Our crew is tiptoeing across a shaky bridge above a monstrous chasm, and then boom. A ridiculous wall of fire bursts out of nowhere, scorching everything in its path. And a vicious vortex of pure incineration tears through the air, barreling straight at them. All the other adventurers lose it, screaming at the top of their lungs to bolt across the bridge. It's total chaos. One dude is yelling his guts out about what's happening, and his buddy just snaps back. Gubba Richo cares, then shouts, run. Our boy and Lady Ignart get trapped right in the middle of this totally unhinged stampede. Right as they're still trying to wrap their heads around the fire, a second, icy tornado slams into them from the other side. Lady Ignart jolts to life, screams freeze, and flings her hand up to unleash a spell. An ice wall snaps into existence, but the vortex chews through it instantly, like it's nothing but sugar glass. Ice shards ripped through the air, and our main man shot in front of her, throwing his own body between her and the danger. Now they're boxed in fire roaring on one side, ice crashing on the other, and both tornadoes slam closer by the second. Next, flames slither into Lady Ignart's body, curling around her like blazing snakes. As the bridge gets ripped to absolute shreds, this absolute unit is totally stumped, staring at the blaze like, what kind of fire is this? It's moving with pure intent, like it knows exactly where it's going. Almost it's alive. Then it finally clicks, his soul rips from his body as the truth hits, horrifying in full clarity. They're aiming for her. A shadowy figure lurks above, watching everything unfold. At last, the bridge snaps and gives out. Lady Ignart stumbles, then goes flying off the edge into a blazing abyss. But our hopeless hero doesn't even think twice. He rockets forward. He launched himself off the crumbling ledge, doing it with pure action hero swagger. He's basically blasting through the air straight toward her. She snaps her gaze upward, and terror floods her face like it's carved there. This guy just blurts out, Lady Ignart, give me your hand. The two elemental vortexes are about to slam into them any second now. This is the moment, game over. Psyche, our boy, fires off his final clutch move, the demon sword of shields. A lattice of pure energy snapped into place, wrapping them in a flawless sphere at the very last second. Then he pulls her into his arms and fires off the coldest promise of the century, I'll get you home safe. Fire and ice crash into their little shield with a nuke-level impact. Lady Ignart even hurls in a neat freeze move to back herself up even harder. The blast rips through everything, pure, catastrophic destruction. The whole bridge gets erased, vaporized in an instant, unleashing a massive shockwave that blasted through the mountains and echoed for miles. In a single flash of light, the entire chasm vanished like it never existed. Meanwhile, the other adventurers get slung through the air like they've been launched by pure chaos. The blonde swordsman and his partner barely squeezed onto a dangling rope before it slipped away. He's gripping it with everything he's got, like letting go means instant disaster, screaming for her to never let go, no matter what it takes. The whole team on the cliffside scrambles and hauls them up before they fall. But the bad news keeps battering him. Now the chasm isn't just open, it's a raging torrent of death. But the lizardman whips his head around and screams the one word nobody wanted, lava. Yep, every single inch of that mountain has decided to blow. It's like the world just laid out a full-on natural disaster feast. The last pieces of that bridge dangle in the smoke, utterly useless. But what about our heroes? We snap back, only to see them hanging peacefully from just one vine, which suddenly popped out of the hilt of our boy's sword like it was always meant to be there. He has her pulled in tight, and she's blushing like crazy. He just stares down, calm as ice, and asks, "You all right?" All she can do is nod, and honestly, what a freaking legend. All right, buckle up. This volcano just kicked off full-scale chaos, and it's about to paint the entire mountain range in molten rock red. Our heroes have scrambled into a snowy fortress for cover, but peace and any safe vibes, that's not happening today. From the top of the tower, our main man and Lady Ignart stare out at the apocalypse unfolding like a nightmare. She's drowning in guilt, apologizing over and over for dragging them into this mess. But our boy stays ice cold and snuffs that idea right away. No blame on her. They're just cut off from each other and have to scramble for a whole new plan. He tells her the lava S on a predictable line, so their old route should still be, at least for now, mostly safeish. Safeish won't cut it. This absolute unit refuses to just sit around, waiting for a rescue that might never show up, while the ground itself starts trying to cook them alive. He yanks out a map and flips into total strategist mode. He's already mapped the next route. The nearest safe zone is the old Viscount Given's lands, but you'll have to take a much longer route packed with traps and danger. Lady Ignart speaks up right away. Since Given's disappeared, his land has been sitting under the royal family's care, and that instantly sparks a whole storm of questions. Our boy's got that troubled look on his face, and the royal family, yeah, it's about to get messy. She asks if all this chaos is just the fallout of sneaky noble backstabbing behind the scenes. He doesn't brush it off, he calls it a precaution, because too many strange things have been happening for this to be mere coincidence. Lady Ignart hammers her point home. Every one of those examinees is a top-tier noble or tied to the hero faction, and messing with them would be an insanely bold, suicidal move. This lights a fire under our heroes' minds. If it's not the nobles, then who's behind it? Some outside force or something worse. Then he lands on the most classic villain motive ever. Some cultists are gunning to resurrect the Demon King. Dude, those guys are always stirring up chaos and wrecking everything. But with no time to spin conspiracy theories, the lava's glowing menace is blasting them in the face, and they've got to move, now. Lady Ignar nods and snaps to it, reaching to grab her things. But then she freezes solid. The world snaps into chaos as she clamps her lantern to her chest. A wild wave of something crashes over her, drowning every thought in its wake. He clocks her pause and blurts out, "Hey, are you okay?" She slaps on a quick smile, brushes it off like it's nothing at all. He's not fully sold, but they've got bigger problems, volcano-sized disasters to deal with first. And just like that, the ultimate hiking trip from hell kicks off. They trudged down the snowy slopes, while a furious volcano loomed ahead, coughing out smoke like a harsh, non-stop reminder of their doom. The journey is pure brutality, an unending grind through freezing cold that just won't let up. They pitched a quick camp beneath a blanket of stars, stealing one tiny moment of peace before the chaos came roaring back. They stride right along the rim of a spinning, frozen abyss, where the cold swirls like a waking nightmare. Later, Lady Ignart collapses into deep, peaceful sleep inside the tent. While our main man stands guard, his breath blasts out as white fog in the brutal cold. The next day kicks off with some seriously sketchy rock climbing that screams, "Don't look down." Then a blizzard crashes down, roaring like it wants to erase them for good, until finally, a brand new day breaks through the cold. Lady Ignart bursts out of the tent. It just stood there, blinking like it had been hit with a wave of days. Our hopeless hero already has a fire roaring and breakfast cooking, ready for anything, like the most prepared adventurer alive. She blurts out an apology for sleeping in and waking up way too late. And without missing a beat, this dude deadpans back, hair all messed up, like he just rolled out of bed. He hands her a plate of food right then and there. And she blurts out a thank you, still totally flustered. He watches her, and there's this one defiant strand of hair that keeps bouncing on her head, so he considers pointing it out, then smartly chooses not to, because that would only make everything more awkward. But yeah, that little ahaj is just vibing. While she digs in with zero clue, he calmly takes slow sips of his own soup. That stray hair keeps wiggling and swaying like it's got a mind of its own. He rockets to the finish line, wins it all, and hops up fast to start packing. But as he's rolling up his gear, a familiar little bounce snags his attention. One stray hair on his Oyan head is bouncing right along with it, like it knows exactly what's coming. His brain snaps the pieces together, and I get it too. That quiet, we're both nerds, realization smacks him right in the face. Lady Ignart overhears him, brow furrowing in pure confusion, because somehow you had it too. She yanks out a mirror, checks the wreckage of her hair, and boom, her soul slips out of her body. Our boy throws a small, knowing grin like he already sees what's coming. Later, curled up by the firelight, she snaps awake long enough to apologize for nodding off during her watch. She's gutted, so she immediately steps up and offers to join him tonight. He tries to shrug it off like it's just his job, but she won't let him. She pushes back hard. Then she hands him a cup of tea and tells him how her old servants used to grimace with those bitter smiles right after the first sip. Oh no, this is a massive red flag. He raises the cup and takes a bold sip. And bam, bitterness so brutal hits his taste buds that they're basically wiped out, the kind of flavor that could take down a weaker man in a heartbeat. No joke, this is the worst thing he's ever tasted, and it crushed him instantly. But does this absolute unit just spit it out? Nope, he locks eyes with her, stares her down with the straightest face he can pull off, and declares, "It's delicious." She snaps his bluff right away, noting his eyebrow is twitching like crazy, proving the hero is a horrible liar. As they sit there, he praises how strong she's been through all of this, because on that burning bridge, she doesn't even crack a hint of fear. She offered a tiny, heartbreak smile, and you could instantly feel the sadness behind it. Then she throws a total curveball. She asks him straight out if he still remembers the vessel-fractured disease from the fortress. The one where their body can't survive its own magic and just starts breaking down from the inside. Her eyes burn with a painful memory that refuses to fade. I got hit with vessel fracture, and it wrecked me from the inside out. His eyes went wide, and pure shock hit him like lightning. She swore her illness was so brutal that doctors, herbalists, and even magic tool craftsmen all threw up their hands and said it couldn't be cured. Suddenly, bam, it hits him, that necklace she never takes off. She tells him it's an exorcism necklace, a rare artifact that crushes magic power before it can even flare. She's been leaning on it to drown out the non-stop strain that's been grinding her down. She opens up to him about her past, an entire life trapped in bed, drained down to pure weakness and frailty. Getting fed by maids. She couldn't even force herself to sit up. Her whole world shrank to nothing but endless shelves of books and medicine, stuff she could only touch on her good days. A tiny little world, so small it feels like it's holding its breath. She says that if the version of her from a year ago could see herself now, hammering up a mountain, she'd swear it had to be a dream. One day everything flipped. Her father and the servants went icy, turning cold and distant on the spot. They wouldn't even spare her the decency to meet her gaze. She figured it had to be, because the doctor warned them she didn't have much time left. But the truth hit like a punch. Someone had slipped her a brand new experimental medicine the night before, all in secret. Her father kept it locked away, because the moment it failed, he couldn't stand the idea of watching her heart shatter. That medicine wasn't some random cure. It was brewed from the chief wolf himself, the same beast our boy tracked down and brought to ground. As she lay sick, the whole household, maids, butlers, even her father, stood in terrified silence, and he begged the universe for a miracle. Lying in her bed, she held her breath and waited for the end to finally arrive. She just froze, eyes locked on the ceiling like it held all the answers, bracing for yet another day of agony. One morning, she jolted awake, and for the first time in forever, not a single ounce of pain clung to her body. She tried to rise, but her legs gave out completely. After all that disuse, they just wouldn't move, and then it all snapped, crashing straight to the floor. She slammed her head down and instantly popped a nasty bump on her forehead. And that was it, nothing dramatic, just a plain old bump. The agonizing, soul-crushing pain finally vanished. She could only crawl across the carpet, helpless and pathetic, staring at the sunrise pouring through the window like it owned the whole room. And for the very first time, not because it hurt, but because her heart was overflowing with pure joy, she started crying happy tears.